Hello and welcome to the Apex Racing League Nurburgring 2 hours special event live on Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick and alongside me is Adam Hedgecock with Alex Simpson on the cameras tonight. We're just gridding up for this 2 hour event in store. Adam, preparation this for the 24 hours coming up, one of the trickiest events of the entire calendar, and this is pretty much as close as we can get to it. A 2 hour individual race, which I'm sure will really test these drivers and will be a great warm up for them.
Absolutely, yeah. The big one this weekend, 24 hours of sheer hell at the green hell, really. One mistake and that can be it, done and dusted. So, yeah, good chance for these guys to stretch their legs tonight, see how they're getting on, fine tune any setups that they've got that they're going to look to use at the weekend, and run a bit competitively against some of their maybe competitors at the weekend as well.
Absolutely. So we have should have the grid up on your screens, and it is Moreno Sirica on pole position. 6 tenths of a second. Usually that'd be big. I don't really have to explain why around this circuit. It is quite small. Andre Butcher in second place, and it's Arthur LeHook. Michael Dreschler, Mark Fletcher lines up in fifth, and it's Jackie Lotzman, Andrew Langham Service, Nathan Parkinson, Michael Fickbonner, Paul Smith rounding out the top 10. The rest of the drivers will go through for you now. I mean, so many competitive drivers in the GT3 class. At the top of the Porsches is Jeffrey Garzotto, Marcel Heyman, and Derwin Kostanak, the top three in that category. Then in the GT4s, we've got Morton Sterengard Feltson and Paul Joslin on the front row of the grid. Simon Rohr Husum as well up in the top three. And in the TCR, it's quite a big class today. Alex Neller, Gabriel Ruth, and Harold Stadler in the top three places. So we've got 42 drivers, I am saying. They should all grid up in their appropriate classes, which should work all fine. So we should have the GT3s go first, and then the Porsche Cups, and then the GT4s, and then the TCRs. Can be a tricky start here, Adam. It's a pretty narrow chicane to start off.
It is indeed, and it's kind of a weird one, isn't it? The actual Grand Prix loop of the Nurburgring is completely different tarmac to the rest of the track. It's very slippy, very green. I found personally when driving here, if I was making mistakes, it was usually in that section, the bit where you kind of the easiest. But yeah, be interested to see how these guys get on in the first few corners for sure.
So here we are then, Moreno Soka from the pole position. The Mustang pace car pulls into the pits, and 2 hours of racing at the green hell is going to be underway. He's under massive pressure though straight away. Soka, great start for LeHook, who straight away passes Butcher for second place. Good start for Fletcher as well, so good start for those drivers on the odd side of the grid. Now trying to wrap his car around the outside is LeHook. A little bit of a lock-up for Sirica, and it seems like LeHook, with that line, has been able to get ahead, and Sirica's having an awful start. He's dropped down to his third position, and maybe even fourth, with Mark Fletcher gaining three places already. In the Porsche, there's already a spin round in the Porsche Cup class. That was third and fourth, getting into one another, it seemed. I think that was Marcel Heyman. He was the big loser out of that. Morten Stegart at the front of the GT4s. He seems to have held on to that position. And in the TCRs further back, Alex Nella hanging on to that lead as well. However, Christopher Ems already gets past Hal Stadler. That was for P3.
Great start from all the front runners really, apart from Sirica. LeHook, certainly he's dropping down the order, but I'm not seeing him having any issues. Great start for Fletcher. We've just switched for him now. Snuck up the inside, didn't he? Managed to wriggle his way through and tuck in second place. Great start from Fletcher there. But as you say, the first two corners, you called it before, didn't you? It's a tricky little thing to get through. You kind of want just a normal 90-degree right or left, really, don't you, when you're stepping into a race? But everyone seems to manage to get through it reasonably clean, and they're just about to head on to the Nordschleife itself now.
Yeah, there's always a fantastic opportunity at the start of this race to gain a couple of places on the GP circuit, and then once you get onto this part, it becomes a bit more tricky. Bad news for Caridi. think he's one of the TCRs is greedy, and he has dropped down, and I think has gone back to the pits. And Ems as well, Christopher Ems, who I believe got up into 3rd place off the start, and he has dropped out of the race as well, seemingly. These drivers do get a faster pair each, so you might see them back out on circuit later on. Yeah, not great news for those guys. Garzotto leading the way of the Porsches at the moment, ahead of Kostanak. Also up for Heyman. Of course, we saw Heyman get spun round at the first couple of corners. So Heyman going from 2nd place down into 5th position in that Porsche Cup class.
Yeah, great start from Gozzotto, isn't it? We commentate on him in the ARL GT on Sundays, and he's not always the luckiest of drivers. He does have his fair share of bad luck, but he seems to have got a good start this time round. Leading the Porsches and doing a cracking job. To be fair to him, let's hope his
Fletcher.
his luck is better.
Fletcher has lost it, and Dreschler as well. They've seemingly got involved in something. Unfortunately, I can't see this replay, but I don't know if you could talk us through it.
Yeah, just going up the hill to the fast left-hander. I'm rubbish with corner names. Oh, he just gets tagged in the rear from one of the Williams Esport Audis. Dunks him out to the outside wall, spinning all the way along the grass. Fortunately, he doesn't collect anyone in the process. But yeah, that's some serious damage. If he can get... I can't see any suspension damage, though, so he might be able to just kind of crawl it back and take his fast repair. But yeah, it looked like one of the Williams Esport drivers just clipped him going through the fast left-hander.
Yeah, just wondering if that was Dreschler, who also lost a lot of places from that. It was, I'm not sure actually. Dreschler was pretty close by. Maybe it was someone else. Here is Caglione going off the track. And this, oh wow, and bumping over the curb as well. It's fortunate not to wipe anyone out.
Oh no! Oh no! The curse! Oh, he's got caught up. Golzotto caught up with, who was that on their roof? It was a GT3, I think. After just praising him, saying that, he's got a great start and he's out in front and his luck looks to be changing. I shouldn't say things like that, Sam. I apologise.
Absolutely, you can blame it all on Adam, certainly, for that one. But yeah, not sure who that GT3 was losing it, and Garzotto, first one on the scene, and he got the main brunt of it, completely blind at that point. So, oh, what a shame. Fornaroli? No, I don't think it was Fornaroli still going, but well,
Might have been Bjorn Engel. I see that he's back in the pits.
yeah,
It's definitely a Mercedes.
good shout, that one, I think. So yeah, great shame, and well, that's our Porsche Cup leader out of the race. Here was oh wow, Engels lost that one weirdly. The GT3 behind him did very well, but then because it's blind for the others on the year 1 cards doing well as well. Oh, and then Garzotto did not see him. Would have had a yellow flag, but well, I don't think anyone could have expected what was coming.
No, absolutely. It's the inherent with this track, isn't it? You see yellow flags, you want to ease off, but the cars are suddenly coming up so fast behind you. A lot of it's blind. You're in the lap of the gods a lot of the time around here. So yeah, really unfortunate. I feel really bad for praising Garzotto. I really do.
Well, he does have Le Mans at least in the Apex Racing League GT Championship. That will be the season finale, round 8 of that on Sunday evening on Apex Racing TV. Going for the championship, of course, Gold Racing Team. I hear a spinner, but maybe that was just the tire squeal of these cars. Harold Stadler, I think, has dropped another place. He's now behind Matthias Magnussen. He's up into 3rd position now, and this is pretty close as well for the lead. Nella, and he opens the door. We might see a change of position here. Gabriel Ruse going down his inside. Driver who I recall driving against in the Corvette C7 a couple of years ago. Very quick driver, and he has been able to get ahead.
I've raced against Gabriel a few times.
Oh,
he runs right onto the grass. Can he hold it?
Skims the wall.
Oh, that's a cat's life right there, isn't it? It's only got 8 left. I was just going to say, I've raced against him in the officials in the TCR, Gabriel Ruse, and he's mighty quick in the car, so it should be a good competition for Nella, who's been putting in a massive amount of laps. I can tell you that in preparation for this weekend. Be interesting to see how these two kind of fight it out over the course of this 2 hours. They're both very capable.
Yeah, and of course the draft effect quite strong in these cars. But they are coming up to the GT4s, interestingly. They seem to be outpacing a lot of the GT4s as well. I thought maybe they'd be faster than a couple of them. In fact, they seem to be faster than almost all of them. Their base pace really strong in these TCR cars, which are very similar. Anyone who has driven in the IMSA Pilot Challenge, I personally have been out qualified by George Simmons before. Who is, I will add, a very good TCR driver. Adam can back me up on that one. However, um, he did beat me on that one. I did beat him in the race. I will just point that one out. Nathan Parkinson has gone off the track. Ashley Beard as well, and Fink Bonner as well. So, oh dear, there's Pink Bonner going on to the dot Naho, I believe. Gets back going. He can use that faster pedal, though it's going to be a long run down to the pits. Doing well, the driver just behind him, Theodore, to get past into ninth place. And like I said, I think a couple of other drivers were involved in that as well.
It seems so. Odd one there, isn't it? Usually just play follow my leader through the last couple of corners and just wait for the toe. You don't get too close to the car in front because you've got that massive long straight to enjoy the toe and fuel saving behind them. But we are seeing a breakaway now, aren't we? We said about this before the broadcast started that the Williams boys have been looking incredible in their R8s as of late, and they're showing it again already. A good 4 seconds back to third place from Le Hook. So ominous signs right here, I think.
Yeah, they are looking good. Actually, Beard has come into the pits. So I think he may have had damage, Beard, perhaps? And Fletcher's gone into the pits as well. Fletcher definitely had damage. We can confirm on that one. And you can see the damage as well that Beard had. So the winners, of course, from the Sim Racers World Endurance Championship, them drove a superb race to take the win in that one. That was in the GT3 cars as well. But having to gets a fast repair straight away today. Fink Bonner as well getting into the pits, which means that Caglione is up into 11th place. Kapaniorkis is up into 8th place. So nice driving from the Greek driver, I believe, up in 8th, 7 places from his start.
I'm just wondering if Ashbeard got caught up at the last corner coming onto the Dottinger Ho. We did see a year one Mercedes kind of a little bit offline, so I'm just wondering if he maybe skimmed the wall in avoidance or something like that. But whatever it was, it's sure enough to bring him into the pits. Just touching on your comment about George Simmons, to give you an idea of the pace of Nella, the two of them have been comparing notes all week.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, it's that's why I'm saying I'm really interested to see how Gabriel Russo, who I know is an incredibly fast driver, how Alex and Gabriel are going to stack up against each other.
So these two scamping away. Andre Butcher is basically just see him in the background, the third Williams esports driver. And then Jackie Lotzman in fourth. At the top of the Porsche Cup drivers is Kostanak, Derwin Kostanak, with Caglione in second place, Nick Dawes in third, and those guys are the only ones who are cleanly still running. In fact, I think they're the only ones still out on circuit at the moment. I think the others are towing back to the pit still and getting some repairs done. Such was the instance that we saw on the opening lap. And then top of the GT4s, Morten Sturgard Feltson, only 6 tenths of a second ahead of Paul Joslin currently. I believe those two have stayed in line. In fact, there's been barely any change. Only Jarma gets past Melichar is the only changes in that GT4 class so far. But Sturgard Feltson very much being kept honest right now.
Well, that's the important thing in a race like this, especially at a track like this. Even if you haven't got the pace of the guy in front, you always want to try and keep yourself within a pit stop, kind of an emergency pit stop of them. If they have an accident, they've got to get repairs, you're going to be past them. As long as they know that you are still within that window, the pressure's still on them. which is an uncanny thing, really, when you think about it. You know how long a pit stop is. You could be 30 seconds up the road, and you could still be under pressure from P2. It's a fascinating dynamic to this track and the way people race it.
Just seeing, well, have any of the TCRs got past so far any of the GT4s? I don't think so. I don't think they've quite been able to. Well, actually, maybe they have. Here is Nella at the front of them, and they are coming up to the back of the GT4s, which will undoubtedly be an issue on the for the 24 hours. And they are edging closer as Nella runs a little bit wide. That is very close to the wall, and well, already his rival, Roos, has used one of its 9 lives, and well, these guys using their feline instincts once again there. That was very nearly, very close to another crash.
Heart in mouth moment, absolutely. Wow, how the two of them have got away with these little skims on the grass, God only knows. But the GT4s, they're very awkward to get the power down around here because it's so tight and twisty. You have to feather the throttle a lot, which means you're not running your ultimate quickest pace. It's a balancing act going on. Whereas a TCR, you can throw it into corners, you can bounce it off curbs, as you've seen Nella do there. You can be a lot more aggressive with it without the fear of spinning it out. So I can understand why they are a little bit quicker, but it doesn't make it any better for the GT4 drivers who see the TCRs in their mirror, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit of a clarification in terms of the colors that we're seeing at the moment. So as you can see at the top of your screen, the GT3 cars, they're all in yellow, and then the Porsche Cup in the blue, the GT4s in the red, and the TCRs in the purple. They're all different classes, so they're not racing against one another. But some of them, at least the Porsche Cups and the apologies, the GT4s and the Audis TCRs are quite evenly matched on pace, but they're not racing against one another. And then, of course, you see the track map, which is always very useful around this place. Just each number within each circle of the track map represents the position that they are in, not the car number necessarily, but the position that they're running in. And then just in the bottom left is where you can see which team each driver is associated as well. I'm sure you can see it on their liveries anyway. As Nella comes up to the part of the circuit where a few overtakes are a bit more possible.
This is the area where you definitely want a tow from a quicker car. It's uphill all the way from the really slow hairpin, slowest corner on the track, all the way to the carousel is pretty much all uphill. You have a few little dips. You see Chris Danes having a look going up the hill. Really, really tough to get past in this section. The track is deceptively narrow. He's bump drafting by the looks of it. Stadler in front of him, desperate to get past. Who's that in the Ferrari coming up behind him as well?
Parkinson?
That is. Or, unfortunately for Parkinson, I think he just got to be a little bit patient here. He's a bit out of touch with the rest of his class, but with 3 TCRs running in close proximity, you have to take care, one would imagine.
So it's saying Parkinson is on his first lap, which I don't quite understand. Oh no, and they have made contact, and into the wall goes Danes. Well, Parkinson tried to get past, and now Dane's making the whole situation worse. But Parkinson tried to go around the outside, and Dane's just making contact, and they're both massively lost out from that one. I wonder if Parkinson's already used his fast repair. I think he already had a bit of damage on board, which indicates he hasn't used it. But yeah, that's very much split him away. That's good for the 3rd and 4th place TCR drivers.
It is, yeah, very clumsy. I'm not sure who was to blame for that one, but the afters was a little bit silly, wasn't it? Not what we particularly want to see. But yeah, just as I was saying, he had to have a bit of patience. So we see Roos getting really close to the back of that GT4. Oh, that was a little bit frightening there, but manages to navigate his way through. It's so tight and twisty here. I mean, it goes without saying. You can see the track mapping. I'm sure everyone's familiar with the track. Getting past any kind of car here is particularly difficult, and yeah, we just saw that not enough caution was taken on it.
Yeah, you think but they're gonna have to do that for 24 hours and at night as well,
Yeah.
which will be tricky. At least the headlights are a bit better than they were 12 months ago. Remember when night first came out for all the cars, the day-night transitions, and everyone realized, hang on, these headlights don't really work. And it took iRacing a few months to update them, but they are significantly better. Now, this is something that Jackie Grossman has got involved in.
Yeah, it looks like he's making a move on Uka here for third place. Yes, he is. Down in Dottinger Ho, coming up towards the last few corners. We can see a little bit of wing damage on the Audi. Might be slowing it down in the long straights there, but Lotterman makes a move early, doesn't he? Gets to the inside and just covers him off. Yeah, nice simple move there, cleanly done, and yeah, Lotterman up to third in the GT3s.
We've seen a pit stop for Kappa Niotis coming into the pits, which is a shame because he was up into about 7th place, I think, was Theodore, but taking a pit stop now. So, in terms of strategy, how much do you know about the strategy in the GT3s? Are we thinking they can one-stop this one, Adam? Because I'm just thinking, if it's a two-stop, coming into the pits really early on isn't actually going to cost you that much time because you'll still have to do 2 stops. Do we think that you can get to the hour mark in these GT3 cars, or do you think actually you could perhaps go even further?
It's been a while since I've done a GT3 strategy, but if I recall, it can range, depending on the track, can range from anywhere from 45 minutes to about an hour. So I'm thinking they're going to have to do two stop based on just that alone. But if you get if it's really close, I mean you can get an awful lot of fuel back from drafting here. So it might be. Some might try one. If they do, it'll be amazing. But I'm pretty sure we're going to see a two stop for the GT3s.
Yeah, I'm just thinking back to Sunday in the Sim Racers World GT Championship. Of course, we saw 5 stops, and it was about a 5 hour 50 race, 5 hour 40 race. So I think
Oh
that
yes, it was.
the fuel was going just under an hour, like kind of 57, 58 minutes. If it does go that far, it might be worth trying it. However, the pace right now of Circa and Le Hook, if you're in the midfield or near the back of the GT3s, then you're perhaps going to be forced an extra lap than perhaps that you've prepared for. And you do not want that around this circuit. It's not a case of, oh, just lift and coast to save an extra half lap of fuel. It's quite tricky around this place because the laps are very, very long. I yeah, they don't want to risk it too much, is what I'm saying, and they gotta be confident with their calculations. Back in the TCRs, by the way, Hal Stadler now a bit more of a comfortable third place. Remember, these guys are quite far behind Alex Nella and Gabriel Roos at the moment. They are, in fact, 8.5 seconds off Roos, and on that last lap, on that last lap, were 3 seconds slower. Um, yeah, these guys pretty close, but could be pretty good for Magnussen, perhaps. There's a last-minute entry to this race, staying in the slipstream at the moment. Here's Jasper Rieken, who someone on the YouTube chat, YZ Sim Racing, Jasper Rieken from P14 to P7, a very good drive. Absolutely so. He is doing a very good job. By the way, if I'm mispronouncing Rieken's name, let me know. I appreciate it might be slightly different, but I believe that is how you pronounce Jasper's name.
I have a feeling that it might be Riken, because I have a
Ooh, shout.
friend, Lars van Rijn, who spells Rijn R-I-J. So it might be Riken. But again, I'm with you. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not well versed in non-English names. In fact, I'm not very well versed in English names, to be honest with you. Yeah, Sam says, let us know in the chat. Quite a looking car, that, you know, livery chat with Adam again. I always applaud nice liveries, and I do like this one. That little fleck of black down the middle of it. It's beautiful. I like it. I really do like it. Very pleasing to the eye.
A couple of extra horsepower as well, which will I'm sure help him along. Behind, oh sorry, further up. So actually, how far is Raikkonen is 43 seconds ahead of Fletcher, who's already coming for a pit stop. If we do have a two stop, then that's not too bad for Fletcher. But if we have a one stop, oh, power's wide. And is he going to be under pressure through here? This is Paul Smith just behind him, and that is not the Paul Smith that I'm sure you'll be very familiar with in previous Apex Racing TV broadcasts on Race Spots, who I'm sure everyone tunes into now and again. That is not the same Paul Smith. This is another Paul Smith. There are a few of them. It's one of the most common names, I think, on all of Arius. There's like 20 odd of them. But he is right now chasing after Joshua Pope. Pope actually started behind Smith. These guys started in 11th and 10th, respectively. Doing very well right now. As David Van Broek, by the way, is just towed back to the pits. Must have been involved in something.
The current AM champion for the ARL Touring Car League that we all participate in and have on Apex Racing Video on Thursday nights.
Controversially as well, I remember having to give the driver who was due the championship a penalty, which denied him the title. It was quite a simple decision. I don't have a bad conscience about it. Oh, I think Clist has dropped it.
I was going to say, yeah, just coming up on a slow year one Mercedes. Terrifying moments that when you come around a blind corner and see a slow car on the racing line, but managed to navigate it without too much. It didn't look like he lost too much speed because of it. Clist carrying a little bit of damage there on the front right. I just wonder if he's maybe run a corner a little bit too wide and just grazed the outside armco, which is so easily done here. So easily done.
I have a move between Husum and Grinbergas, and Grinbergas has got ahead. There we are. So that is that third in the yeah, it is third in the GT4s, which by the way is a very nice car to drive. I was very much enjoying driving Snetterton, which is my local circuit. I am a Norfolk resident, and so Snetterton is only about 20 miles down the road. And I was really liking it, and then I found a very scary button, which is called the assist button, which has the ABS, traction control, and stability control all mixed into one. And I turned it down, and all of a sudden my lovely GT4 wasn't quite as lovely again, because all of a sudden you actually have to have talent to drive it in a straight line, which I lack in abundance. So I unfortunately believe that to be quick in it, you do have to turn that setting away from the high setting, which I'm very reluctant to do. So I did like that car, and now I might move back to my Porsche Cup, which is impossible to drive, but at least I know where I stand with it.
I tried it and kind of parked it, to be honest with you. Now I'm seeing Jackie Lotterman has got up into second.
Oh yeah, something's happened to Sirica.
Yeah, Sirica's dropped right down. He's now behind. Oh, he's got damage to his rear wing. That's the second of the Audis. Yeah, the front as well. You're right. Oh, I wonder what happened there. Well, we're gonna see. Unfortunately, I can't see what's going on. Maybe you see it.
So he's spinning it through the carousel then. Circa, and that unfortunately has kind of broken up the lead battle that we were having just a few moments ago. So taking too much curb on the inside. Really tricky corner actually, that the carousel. There's a lot of tricky corners around this place, Adam. I don't know about you, but I find that second carousel very near the end of the lap the most tricky corner, because either I either fully commit to it and half the time, or say 60% of the time absolutely nail it, the other 40% of the time I completely drop it, or I'm mega cautious. And that's not the place where you want to be cautious, because either you'll lose the draft of the car ahead, or you'll give the car behind a draft. So it's really tricky, that second carousel.
I find it kind of lulls you into a false sense of security as you see Sirica getting a lot closer to the back of Lotterman. I'll come back to that thought in just a moment. Oh, he's flashing his lights behind him. Going to try and move going up the hill here. Lotterman's going to defensive line. You don't want to be taking this too tight. You'll instantly find yourself out on the outside wall. Slamming on the brakes now as they take this downhill right-hander. Wonderful corner this. I love the momentum in the camber. It just draws you down, gets you set up for this lovely downhill section through the trees. Lotterman just needs to keep his eyes forward at the moment. Don't be looking in your mirror. You can't afford to be doing that. The moment you look in your mirror, you're done and in the outside wall. But really close now, Sirica, as they come back up out of the tree.
The damage doesn't seem to be costing Sirica too much. He had good straight line speed going into that left, and then the right that Adam was complimenting. However, until you kind of get into that long kind of triple left section and into there, then it's really an overtaking opportunity on the horizon. So we ride on board the roll bar for Sirica. Just trying to follow around this part. Again, this part of the circuit is another part which I really struggle with, because it dips down and you lose loads of grip, and the car just understeers massively as you bottom out. This place though, very, very nicely accelerates up and then straight on the brakes, kind of just bundle the car in, get it stopped, and then accelerate coming out. Always feels quite...
Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, I never feel like I get that corner right. I always feel like I'm like improvising on that one, but it always goes all right.
I'm literally going to agree with you. Bundle is the correct term of how I send my car down that little dip into the hairpin. I've just had a message from David Van Broek on the YouTube chat. He was fiddling with some settings and wasn't paying attention. He was trying to fix his spotter, which caused his crash. Yeah, you need to be 110% concentration of this track. You can't take your eyes off the road for a moment. But as I was going to say with the second carousel, before we started watching this battle, I find that it lulls you in. Because it looks so open on the exit, it kind of makes you want to go through it faster than perhaps you should. So sometimes you go in there and end up getting launched into the outside wall. Other times when you think, oh, I'll just take it a little bit easier, as you rightly said, you'll end up being overcautious and having a car right behind you, taking all that lovely tow all the way to the end of the lap. But yeah, it is a very, very tricky one. A lot harder than the first carousel, which these guys are just coming through now.
Yeah, the penalty of getting this first carousel is quite costly. They can easily lose you a second or so if you just over-judge it. Of course, you want to... I don't know what that force is. You know when you've got like the point in the middle, and then if you have like a piece of string and you spin around the string, and there's always that force to the centre.
I want to say perpetual motion, but is it perpetual motion?
That's something else, I think. Elliptical motion or something. Where it's always pulling you into the centre. Let us know.
Oh, okay. I'm with you.
But it's got that, so you want to go in with as much speed as possible, and then you can really get a lot of power through. All that is wide. That's now we do for Sirica, and he's just losing loads of time to his teammate. Outstanding 17 seconds now. The gap is up to. By the way, Joshua, was it Joshua Play? It was Joshua Play. He came in on the last lap for some reason. Took a lot of fuel as well to play. 42.5 seconds. So I think probably took tyres as well. And he's back out on track in 10th place, just behind Paul Clist, as he's just got past Paul Clist. In fact, so up into 9th position now is Josh Pope. Just tuning in with the leaders again. Duran Kostanak up there in 8th place, in front of Pope, in fact.
So we're just over half an hour gone, a quarter of the race done and dusted already. Just a quick rundown of your top threes. Arthur LeHook is running P1 in your GT3s with Lotterman and Sirica, the battle we've just been watching, just behind them for the podium spots. There we go. There is your GT3 leader. A healthy lead for him at the moment. That could be very, what's the word I'm looking for? Just because you've got that lead round here, you can't get complacent with it. Very easily can it change. We can see his competitors off in the background there. In your Porsche Cup class, we have Derwin Kostanak leading the way with Leonardo Caglioni in second. There he is. Another livery that I kind of like. And Nick Dawes rounding out your top three. Onto the GT4s. Paul Joslin got a 4-second lead over Morten Sterregard Felston. There he is. Kind of reminds me of the Apex livery, that one a little bit. Very nice. And then Gustus Grinbergus in third, with a healthy lead himself, 3 seconds over Simon Ruahusin behind him. And then in the TCRs, Alex Neller is out in front, managed to pull a 3-second gap over Gabriel Roos, who has got a very, very healthy gap behind him to Harold Stadler, who is in third. And that rounds up your top threes in all the classes after half an hour.
Marco Barbanero would be proud of that roundup, so congratulations.
That was a bit impromptu as well. I wasn't planning on doing that, but there you go.
Sirica's come into the pit. I'm not sure if that was planned or not. Butcher as well. This might... Oh, I don't know. I was about to say something, and then I thought, well, it's probably going wrong, so I may as well shut my mouth. I was just thinking, maybe this is going to be a 2-stop, and they are coming in early just to try to even out these stints, basically. As coming back out there. Oh, that was quick for Butcher. So that was, because the fast repair usually keeps you stationary for about, I don't know, a second, 2 seconds. I think he took it. And that's still about 10 seconds of fuel as well, or even more than that, probably. Or fuel. Sirica's still stationary. Wonder if he's on the jacks, is Sirica. Because, as a look,
Yeah, it was, yeah.
having a small issue, I think the looks alright. Yeah, Sirica 53.7. And Lotterman is stationary as well.
We got more damage than we saw before.
I think he's towed back. Because I'm not seeing the timer tick up for him. So I think he's currently towing.
Trying to have a look in our little event viewer here to see if I can see anything. The trouble is some of the corners here are so slow that it flags up as a crash even when it's not. So it's hard to tell. Now I wonder... oh, here we go. A little slide. That's crabbing. Ooh. He's picked up some damage. He wasn't that far behind, so I don't think it would have been maybe coming off the Dottinger. Maybe.
So yeah, well, something certainly happened to him, and
there we go. Side by side for second place. Oh, they come together. They touch. Maybe a little bit of net code, and then at that speed, you're just going to spear across the track. So unfortunate for the pair of them. Yeah, just looked like a little bit of a touch as they were running side by side. That's why they were both in the pits at that particular time. I was going to suggest maybe some fancy strategy from them, but yeah, a little bit of contact and caused them both to have to come in and take their fast repairs.
Yeah, I think anyone who's done many races around this place knows you don't go side by side there. You just back out of it. Neither driver wanted to back out, and in the end did get in a collision. I think it was either last year's or 24, or the year before that where I actually fought that and we did crash. I will say we crashed more later on, so I don't feel too bad about it. But it didn't help the course, safe to say. And it was I mean, it probably was my fault, to be honest, because the faster car was coming up behind me. Same class, but faster driver. going for a position. I should have really just let him go. Okay, instead, I fought it, and I wonder what the drivers will be thinking about that one. One of the drivers clearly feels that it wasn't their fault, but I don't know about that one. Hal Stadler, he is he under pressure here from Matthias Magnussen? Trying to come back at Magnussen. Down the inside he goes. Now, these two are going to go side by side. And, well, let's see if this is going to be a bit more successful than it was earlier on, although he does back out of it. Eventually does Magnussen. In the rev limiter there, Adam, once you get to the rev limiter, is there any more pace in it? Or do you kind of just neutralize your pace completely? Because Stadler there was in the slipstream, but he seemed to also have a bit. It was in the rev limiter, apologies. But he did seem to still have a bit more pace. So how's that possible?
You have a little bit, as we see them going side by side once again down towards turn one. You do have to be careful side by side in these cars because of those extended wheel arches. There are some funky physics that can take shape and cause issues as Stadler keeps his position. But yeah, you do have a little bit of extra pace. But I always find bouncing up in my race seat when that happens generally gives me like an extra mile or two per hour.
Of course.
You know, you got to bounce in your seat. That's how you gain those extra speeds. Yeah, it's an odd one. It all depends on when it hits. When it bounces, you lose a little bit. When it like just before it kind of over revs, and you gain a little bit. It's really awkward to manage, to be honest with you.
It certainly helped out Stadler on that occasion. He's up into third position out of the TCRs. Haven't seen as much TCR Porsche GT4 interaction as perhaps I was expecting. We do have John Melichar in amongst them, but then we've got Zach Jarma as well, who's just ahead of the race leaders at the moment. There is Melichar coming up to the back of Roos. It's not close enough here. Fantastic that we use this fast flowing chicane rather than the slower one. Certainly does bring much more flow to this circuit. And yeah, Miniature can't get past on the GP check, so we'll stay behind the hit. The gap between the two top TCRs, by the way, 4 seconds at the moment. Nella on that last lap was about 1.8 seconds faster. So small margins between these drivers.
When you do your endurances, Sam, do you find that no matter how much practice you put in during the week, come race day, you find yourself a second, 2 seconds off just because you're being overly cautious, not wanting it to ruin it for your teammates?
Absolutely.
Not just me then.
Now that would be all right if I didn't then proceed to crash. The fact that I then proceed to crash just means that it's awful for everyone, to be honest. No, yeah, it's really tricky, isn't it? The thing that I try to do is in practice, I try to make the stakes really high. So I try to make it as much as possible that the way I drive in practice is similar to the way I drive in the race, because I always find if you go hell for leather in practice and then back off, as you say, in the race, pretty much all that practice is pointless. I mean, you're not driving the same way. You're almost completely second. Oh dear, Arthur LeHook from the lead has gone off just before the dot and the hoe, and that's massive damage for him. Can he limp that car back? Oh, it's a long way. It is a straight, but that's another car that we've seen crashing off at that corner, and that will absolutely be horrendous for him.
See him, he's just skimming through the fast left-right. Wonderful part of the track, this, but has he carried a little bit too much momentum? Yes, he has. His back left wheel just gets out onto the grass, sends him to the outside wall. And that's a lot of damage, a lot of damage. Very easily done, even for someone of LeHook's ability. Just that little fraction too far onto the grass, and that's it. You're done. I don't want to say that I told you so the start about the gaps and how you can keep yourself in play. But with LeHook pitting, that'll put Paul Smith up to P1 and Raikkonen in P2. So keeping yourself in contention, even if you're not the quickest outright, as Paul Smith then contradicts me and comes into the pits. Thanks, Paul.
And he has got some damage as well, I will just point out. So, you're not quite there. Well,
Oh, and Raikkonen's in as well. What's going on, boys?
here comes Butcher. Then he will stay out because he's already pitted. So no one is going to the hour then. It looks like you can go more than 6 laps. I remember doing VLNs before, and you could do. I swear it was 7 laps easy, 8 laps possible. They've gone 6 laps, 5 laps for that matter, 5. So if you go 8 laps, then you can make it. I think even 7 laps you can make it. So why they're coming to the pits, I'm not quite sure. They are still stationary though, so they're not just taking repairs. They are changing tires and taking fuel. So I'm flummoxed,
Okay.
as if I wasn't already.
Do you want the big brain forehead moment from Adam?
All
What
right.
if they are coming into the pits now to fill up and get tyres, and then on the next pit stop they're just going to full fuel it, no tyres. So they've done a slightly shorter one, and then a normal one on their tyres, and then the one after that is just both again, tyres and fuel.
Perhaps. I mean that's a World GT strategy, isn't it? Based on it, so that way you got to do a couple of stops in a similar length race to this. I mean, in terms of the tires, I'd think go to lap 6 at least, because then at least you're doing a much more similar amount of laps on each tires, even if you do have to do 2 stops. Make your first stop a little bit, or your first stint a little bit longer before taking tires. Um, but you may well be correct. I'm not quite sure. We'll see. We'll find out in an hour and 10 minutes. Who had it right all along? Sirica catching up to Fletcher. This is a battle that we want to see. Mark Fletcher, who we know can defend. He defended brilliantly against, it was Matt Dorrington, of course, on Sunday at Silverstone. This is a slightly different proposition. And no disrespect to Matt Dorrington, who I'm sure is tuning in. But Marino Suzuka might have a bit more of a pace advantage. However, good news for Fletcher is that this track is a lot narrower, a lot more difficult to overtake. Both these drivers, by the way, pitting, but Suzuka has got a lot more fuel on board, which will help him in the strategy later on. I don't know who's going to win this. This is I don't know how quick everyone is for that matter, Adam. But well, I think if Sturka can keep pounding these laps in, is he the favourite? I guess.
There's some names here that I'm unfamiliar with, but when you see a Williams eSport Audi R8 on track, you know that they're going to be quick. You know, they're in that car for a reason. It's not because they poo-poo around at the back. So, you see him, he's looking to the outside of Fletcher. What's Fletcher going to do? Is he going to hold it on the inside? He is going to hold it on the inside. Keeps a nice tight line, then covers the inside coming to this right-hander. Nice driving again. Great defending from Fletcher. As you said, we saw him on Sunday, didn't we? He was defending for lap after lap, just experience driving more than anything, and he managed to fend off Sirica again once again.
He's doing everything he can. Also driving in the World GT yesterday. Had a couple of decent results, but it wasn't a fantastic meeting for him. Hit down hard to about that championship situation. I think his mark, but still with a decent chance for 3 rounds to go. Check out that one. Not on Monday after. It's got one of the Greek weeks coming up. Oh, Sirica. Sirica. Bash into the wall. And that is a bit of damage. He keeps on going. That'll be too much suspension damage, but that's not going to help him down the straights. And say, Adam, I mean, this is a great preparation for the 24 hours. I think a race like this, where you do care about the result, it's not like an official series, I think, where the result matters probably even less. I think this is a bit more important to the drivers. The fact that some of these drivers are making so many mistakes, that's really going to worry them for the 24 hours, which is such a difficulty. You can't have a lapse of concentration, and yet some of these drivers have had a couple of lapses already, and going to be second guessing themselves when they get to Saturday.
From this point forward, I'm not going to praise any driver. I refuse to do it now. Just moments after saying that, he's in a Williams Esports Audi R8, so he's going to be quick. And what is it with these curses? But yeah, you're right. I mean, they want to take this seriously. They want to use it as proper preparation for the weekend. But on the same token, they might just think, well, you know what? I'm going to push the limits tonight, see what I can get away with, get those kind of things dialed in, so that I don't make those mistakes again at the weekend. I mean, now's the perfect time to be doing it, and we see it on Formula One Friday. Drivers going off the track left, right, and centre in the first session because they're exploring the limits just so they can get dialed in ready for the race the next day, or sorry, on the Sunday. So yeah, I don't think he'll worry too much about it, but certainly get those done and dusted, and then go for the clean run at the weekend. We see Nella on screen at the moment. He's managed to pull nearly a 5-second gap now. It's stabilised a little bit to Roos behind, but yeah, he's kind of in a class of one at the moment, isn't he? Just putting around, putting in his laps, and keeping it nice and clean.
And Reese might be overtaken by Melachar just behind, and Melachar has got ahead. Remember, Melachar is a GT4 driver. However, Reese does retake that position on the brakes. I was just thinking that could be quite disastrous for Reese if he did get pulled behind Melachar. He might hold him up around the Nordschleife parts of the track. I feel like there's going to be something that happens in that TCR class. I don't see how it can possibly be that serene for Nelaway gradually opens up the gap. I think something's going to happen between those two, but on that last lap he was exactly 1 second faster, so it's just edging it out at the moment. 50 minutes into this race, or coming up to 50 minutes into this race now. Has there been a change in what class is Sterigart in? Because he is pretty close right now to one of his rivals. Greenbergas. Is that a change for the lead in the GT4s?
I want to say yes.
It is. Yep, they did change
Yeah.
on this lap. Yep. So that is big for Greenbergas. Apologies for not paying quite as much attention to this battle. But he lost 4 seconds, actually 5 seconds even, did Sterigart Beltson on the last lap. As we see how this one happened, it was a gutsy move. Oh, he needed a lot of permission from his rival, didn't he? He was going through there, and I think Sterigart Beltson did the wise thing, just giving him a slightly wider berth.
Well, I think he went to cover the line, didn't he, early, Stegard Felton, and he covered it. But I think it's one of those, you see the car in your mirror, don't you? Get that little bit bigger and bigger and bigger, and you think, you know what? I'm just going to give you the room just in case. I think that was what happened there. He done the smart thing, just blended out, just gave the room just in case Grimbergus couldn't get the car stopped. But both survived. Good move in the end, and yeah, be interesting to see if this is actually pace that has got this done, or whether there was issues for Sterigard Feltson.
Yeah, because he was quite slow on that last lap. What I will add is Greenberget's actually starting right from the back, so right at the back of the GT4s at least, didn't set a qualifying time, which is an easy thing to do. He did only give the drivers 20 minutes, which you think is, well, you can cut the formation lap, to be fair, but that is still 1 or 2 laps, and it's fair to say you could have well perhaps got a couple of incidents which meant that you couldn't set a time in qualifying. So maybe just showing what his real pace is, and might have the ability now to start pulling away for the lead. But there's concern at every corner round this track, if we haven't already learned today. This is the closest battle I am seeing, at least on track. Oh, there's a couple of others, to be fair. But not within the same class, I think. So, yeah, Stadler, who has become very experienced in a mixture of cars, I think now. Just the V8 Supercars in the Euro V8 Supercar series on every other Saturday. And also becoming quite experienced in this car. I think has dabbled in GT cars as well. Showing that he's pretty good in this as well.
He participated in the Chaslington Touring Cars, which was the rallycross cars around the touring car circuits not so long ago,
Yes.
and was pretty quick in that. To be fair, that was a lot of fun to watch. I definitely enjoyed watching that. And Howard was a little bit like the Golzotto with his luck. You see Magnussen having a little look and gets alongside. Fortunately, the right-hander coming up is kind of nicely cambered for him, so he could hug that inside. Don't want to be going too wide through the left kink. That's just asking for trouble. But Magnussen does get his nose ahead, and Stadler is down to fourth.
Paul Clist is in for, dare I say, the second time in this race. I think he came in earlier on. Although actually our systems is telling us that it's his first time in the pits instead, but he is in the pits anyway. Still a few drivers haven't pitted. Porsche Cups we know can go longer. The TCRs can go absolutely ages. We saw it at Silverstone the other day. They managed to go 90 minutes, I think, maybe even longer than that, maybe more like an hour. Yeah, probably about 90 minutes. I think they managed to go on Sunday. So expect them to go perhaps even further than that. Doubt they'll be able to fuel save to get to the end of the race without stopping. But
Well,
no, there'll
the
be no worries for them.
the downside to that, of course, is that the fuel can go monumentally further than the tyres in this car. So you're tyre limited, and as we know around here, even doing sort of 7 or 8 laps, that's really going to put pay to your tyres, and you don't want to be understeering here. You don't want to be sliding around. So I would imagine that because of the fuel, you'll probably see most of the TCRs just cut the race in half. Just come in sort of around the hour mark, maybe get some fresh boots and carry on from there, possibly.
It's a good shout. By your reputation from today's stream, it'll be wrong. But
Absolutely, it will.
by the way, I meant to say it about half an hour ago, but David Van Berg, of course, he crashed earlier on when fiddling with his computer to get his spotter working. That is the Marco Barbanera Award for that. He famously crashed at Bathurst and Straits when using his SDK timing. As we see something that has happened to Arthur Le Hook.
The exact same place as Sirica. Just carried too much speed in, not enough grip in the car to slow it down, and straight into the outside wall. That looks like both of them are done for the day. They've already used their fast repairs, haven't they? I believe. So that could be done, done and dusted for the pair of them.
That's pretty disastrous for those guys.
Yeah, I think we're just waiting for him to get back to the pits and just sitting at the moment. I haven't seen the car go up on jacks or anything, but there's quite substantial damage on both the fronts and the rears of both of those cars. What
Yeah,
does that mean?
certainly watch out for those guys on Saturday. I'm sure the stream will be on the iRacing Esports Network. Will be in top split. That team probably with a couple of GTD cars, so that might be ones to watch out for the race win.
No, absolutely. What does that mean for the leader? They weren't in contention after their second. We saw Sirica fighting with Fletcher, didn't we? That's long gone. So yeah, as it stands, Butcher is out in front with Fletcher second and Poe in third for that category. Trying to see. I think Fletcher's actually pretty close to Butcher there. I think.
apologies for the couple of delays. Yeah, just got technical issues. But yeah, Botcha, of course, leading out ahead with a couple of pit stops that have gone on. Just a little bit of a reminder, of course, that Botcha has still has already come into the pits in this race, but it was a very short pit stop for him. But we are getting to the halfway point in this event. Will be very interesting to see if Botcha comes in or not, because he did come in earlier on because lap 2 or 3 of the event. So if he can get to lap 7, that would really indicate that he's only got one more stop remaining. Let's see if he does come in on this occasion. He's staying out, so move on to lap 8 now. So your race leader, Andre Botcha, overall and in the GT3 class.
Yeah, after the first few laps, there was a little bit nip and tuck for a few of them, wasn't it? He's settled down well, and is now kind of setting the standard out there. Yeah, like I'm interested to see how they play out their strategies. We've seen a lot of compromise strategies already, and my trusty little notebook needs to take notes of these teams and how they do their strategies. This is the kind of little nuggets that I like to absorb and look at and analyze.
Still, Grinbergas out at the head in the GT4s at the moment. In fact, actually, shall we just see Kostamak at the lead of the Porsche Cup? I feel like we haven't tuned in on him. Here he is. I'm Dr. Hope. Porsche is very quick down straights. It just keeps on going faster and faster. Um, and he is only 4 seconds ahead of Caglioni at the moment. On their last lap, which was a while ago, the time difference was 0.2 of a second in favour of Costin. Apologies, 1.2 seconds, but their fastest lap only 0.2 of a second between the two of them. We'll see what the time difference is this time. I imagine I'd see the gap coming down now, because I swear it was much larger than 2.6 seconds before, and running a little bit wide as well as Kostanek just through that final couple of corners. Into the pits he comes, and they're both into the pits, so they're halving this race. I believe you can take tyres and fuel at the same time in this car, so they'll be able to get some new tyres on. Paul Smith has had an off. However, oh, there we go. Didn't seem like the hardest hit into the wall. Around the GP section of the track, going into turn 1, in fact. And I must say, when I was driving this circuit the other day, I was struggling around this corner. Oh, he dipped a wheel onto the grass there, Adam. And, well, he's fortunate that that hasn't been as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, always spectacular, isn't it, when you see any car get some airtime as he skimmed across the inside of turn 1 there. Yeah, very, very easy to do as well, because of course it kinks just to the right, doesn't it, as you come down into the braking zone. So it's kind of, you're off kilter a little bit, but yeah, unfortunately, little wheel on the outside sent him off into the wall. Has he pitted yet? I don't think he's pitted yet, has he? So if he can kind of get around this lap, maybe you can come in at the end of this one, get some repairs done, and get back underway again.
He was unlucky that it happened at that point of the track. Pretty much anywhere else, and I mean anywhere else, would have been better. At the same time, that is the one part of the circuit where there's a bit of running, so not too bad. I don't think that damage will be costing him too much. Does mean that Raikkonen is up into 4th place. Hopefully we get an interview with a few of these drivers, because I imagine for Jasper, he's kind of just looking down at his screen occasionally, just saying, oh, it's up into 4th now, alright. He's not necessarily doing these overtakes himself, but stuff is going on ahead of him, and he is profiting from it. He's got possibly the cleanest car out on circuit. Now, if that is no commentator's curse, I do not know what is. So let's see if anything comes from that. He is being caught right now by Smith. 4/10 of a second. The gap is down to. These guys are 1.5 minutes off the lead, which would normally mean they're on the edge of being lapped. Not round this race.
I'm glad it was you that said I had a clean car. I've had enough of curses today. Just a little bit of housekeeping while we're enjoying seeing these two close together. Thank you to the guys that have been subscribing on the YouTube, Athol Donaldson and Ivan Molina Pieri being the most recent ones. If you are enjoying the presentation this evening, do drop a subscription, do hit that like because we like the likes. And get yourself notified of all of the broadcasts we do. We've got so many going on at the moment, literally every day, maybe 2 or 3 going on over the course of each day, sometimes more. So if you're enjoying it, do drop us a sub and follow along with all of our presentations.
Absolutely, and check out our social media as well on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the other one, and all the links are in the description. So click on that, and that will be very good.
I really should sign up to Instagram. Never got round to it.
You're not missing much. As someone who is on Instagram, can take it or leave. I did see a post though from Mark Fletcher with my commentary on it, which I thought it's something notable when he's showing that to his friends who hear my dulcet tones and probably think, who is that idiot? It's certainly a very nice feeling that gave me. A few more drivers coming into the pits. So Grinbergas, who was he fighting at? So Sturgart then stayed out, and oh sorry, no. So Sturgart pitted, I believe, on the last lap. Unfortunately, we don't have information on how long his pit stop was, or maybe he did. No, sorry, I'm getting very confused. So he didn't pit, did Sturgart? I'm just getting very confused with the length of this track. It's doing crazy stuff to my brain. So still, Sturgart is yet to pit. Interesting tactic this from. Interesting this, Adam. In terms of the Porsches, would you say this is a good strategy from Sturgart right now to stay out a little bit longer before he comes into the pits? Maybe do slightly longer on his first set of tyres rather than his second.
From the outside looking in, always running a little bit longer and eking out what you've got seems to be a good option, but I've not really driven the car enough to understand whether that's actually the case, to be honest with you. I would just be speculating. But sure, let's speculate. Yes, I think running it longer, taking less fuel at the next time, as long as you can put this lap time in and capitalize on it, I think it should be a good strategy.
By the way, anyone who's listening along to the or watching on the live time might be a little bit glitchy at the moment, but should all resolve itself quite soon. Live time link, of course, in the description below, provided by SDK Gaming, who also just provides all the overlays for us, and you can check this out. Loads of different broadcasting companies, or new broadcasting companies. It's very much liberating to everyone. You can set up your own broadcasting one. Don't, because it might put us out of business. But you can still do it in your pastime, especially for streaming. That would be a good idea. You can use it for your streams, and it's really easy to use. A few different templates as well, which are coming out in the next few weeks. So very good for that. Do we know what happened to Kostanak? Because he was leading out of the Porsches. So apart from that, now he's been in the pits for 6 minutes, I'm assuming.
Oh, I must have missed that one. Butcher is in the pit, and so is Fletcher in the head of the GT3s. But no, I'm not sure what happened to Kostanak. The trouble with this track being so monumentally huge, sometimes things do slip by. Unfortunately, I think this is one of them. We can see
Yeah.
a whole plethora of cars coming in. Plethora. Now, there's a word for you, Sam, to
Oh,
go with your
lovely.
chasm. Don't ask me how to spell it. Don't send me a countdown conundrum. I won't have a clue.
That's it. I'm still ashamed by that. Chasm with an H. With an H. Yeah, that's a shame. So, who is leading out of the Porsches now? It means that Caglioni is leading out of the Porsche drivers because of the issue with Costner. We can only imagine towed back to the pits a while back. Might have to do some hunting myself, see what happened to him. But Caglioni now miles out in the lead, and that is not an understatement around this circuit. Nick Dawes will probably promote himself up into second place. But I'm not guaranteed about that. 3 minutes behind is Dawes at the moment. He's going up to or up into 8th place or 7th place overall now as Caglioni. Such has been the issues for the GT3 cars.
Yeah, he's driving well, isn't he? Oh no, what have I done?
Oh
What
dear.
have I done?
Oh dear.
Um, he's going steady. He's doing what he needs to do. He's driving cautiously. How do you say something mediocre about a driver that's doing so well? It's incredibly difficult. My vocabulary doesn't stretch that far, but no, he's doing what he needs to do at this point in the race. He is definitely looking good out there. What is the gap back? He's got quite the gap at the moment because of the pit stop.
Just trying. I'm just accelerating now. See. Can find what happened to Kosten. Oh, Kostenek dropped it then. Relatively near the start of the Nordschleife section. Took too much curb. This is just after their pit stops and went into the wall. Got a lot of front right damage. Then proceeded to hit the rear right of the car. And so Kostenek, not with a massive impact, but with too much damage to get it round to the track. And expect to see Kostenek back out on track later on, as long as he hasn't already taken his fast repair. Hasn't left the session at least, which indicates that he hasn't got his fast repair used. Yeah, shame that that battle's can't be ended because it was really close between the two.
It was. I believe we got a change for the lead in the TCRs. Uh, Problems for Nella. Yeah, the front left of his car's all scuffed up, and Roos has taken the lead in the class. That's out of nowhere, really. Nella was looking good. We'll see a replay of it.
Lost 8 seconds because of this.
He's coming up the hill. This is a really tricky braking zone to get right. Oh, he's just gone out onto the grass. How many times have we seen that this evening? Just a wheel dipped onto the grass. Trouble is with the cars that are using the new tyre model. The moment you go onto the grass, it is like going on ice, and it's just spat him out the opposite side of the car, opposite side of the track. I do wonder if he's got any steering damage with that. It looked like quite a hefty wallop, didn't it?
Not sure how he then lost the position to Reese. Maybe Reese is just way faster now because of that damage. Ooh, that doesn't look very good. Oh no, there's not many straights around this place. Oh yeah, that's damage. That I think that is quite a bit of damage for it. So Reese into the lead. Nick Dawes, by the way, plays out the Porsches very close to these Jazz Porsche Cup cars. That is. I think it's close. Yeah. But since Nello was overtaking, he's actually been able to maintain that gap. It's like 0.8 of a second, 1 second now to Reese. So he's losing a bit of time as he's overdriving it now. By the way, I have talked about it, and it's such a fun subject, and it's why we all tune in to watch motorsport. Off tracks, it's really a fantastic element. And if you get 30 off tracks, then you do get a penalty. So far, don't want to name and shame, but Surica and Le Hook, a lot of incidents, 15 and 14 each, respectively. Nella's on 9, so don't think it'll be an issue for anyone, but don't want to go off the track too much.
I think the nature of this track, very much like Belle Isle, in some respects. When you get an off track, it usually ends with quite a big accident at the at the end of it, which it can mean that you finish your races on very low incident points, but it does also mean that you're driving a car that's only got 3 wheels. So it's another one of those full sense of security. Look at the speed he's just carried through that left-hand kink. That was mega. He's really going for it, isn't he? Trying to make up for his teammates not being there. He's really kind of pushing the car to its limit. You see it bouncing around. I do love seeing the cars just bounce down into the carousel as well. You just throw it in, hope the front sticks, and then just get on the power as early as you can. Although I have to say, particularly in GT3 cars, I often find myself being spat out at the far side of it because I carry too much speed or want to carry too much speed. I don't know if you have the same issue, Sam. It's seems I can't do a lap round here without doing it.
Yeah, I have too much confidence in the car, so yeah, floor it, and yeah, usually it gets out of the castle, which is infuriating when you do that. How standards out of the race, by the way. Not sure what happened. Do we see what happened to Standard? Apologies for all these. What if we saw this or not? Because I meant to know, but I'm not sure if we saw that crash for Standard. He was running as high as third in the TCR class. So yeah, massive shame for him. It's a couple of laps ago that I think that one happened. Alex Nella from second place is into the pits in the TCR. So remember, he had that damage. Hasn't pitted so far, so he will be able to use the fast repair. And pretty much what we expected. Certainly that one. Means that Gabriel Roos has a more comfortable lead. Matthias Magnussen is up into second place as well. And John Roberts, who I swear we haven't muttered the immortal words that is John Roberts, with that crazy design. I don't know if it's me. Usually that car doesn't have that effect on me, but literally, I feel like I'm being mesmerized and hypnotized by John Roberts every tenth of a second I lay eyes on that machine.
Well, he runs the Dazzle livery on this car, as we all do within the Boosted Racing team on Thursday nights. We all run variations of it, but for his outside league racing, he runs the very bright 3D camo Dazzle on it. And now with spec maps, of course, he can make that all shiny too. He is, of course, the king of the ring. He won the World League Sim Racing endurance race here. 2016, I think it was, the special event we had here. Yeah, he was crowned King of the Ring. The same season, we actually had King of the Hill as well. We had an endurance at Bathurst too. So yes, he usually goes pretty well here. Doesn't necessarily have the outright pace as others, but he knows his place like the back of his hand, and I've just cursed him for the rest of this race.
I remember Andrew Woodhouse mentioning the King of the Hill many a time, and I never quite knew what it was. But you've helped explain that to me. I don't think he mentions it quite as much. Can we have that again, please? That sounds like a cool event.
We used to do at the end of the World League Sim Racing seasons, we'd have a special event, and the first one was King of the Ring, which was I think 2 hours here. Then we had King of the Hill, which was Bathurst, 2 hours there, and then we had the Snetterton, 100 miles of Snetterton.
Ha!
Yeah.
But Snetterton wasn't even a track on here until I guess it was 2017, wasn't it? So what is World of Sim Racing? What was it called?
World League Sim Racing. So it's myself and see Raikkonen getting a little bit of pressure from Smith. I'll tell you the story in just a moment because this battle is heating up. Smith still carrying the wing damage. It's really not slowing him down, is it? Right behind Raikkonen now, less than half a second behind. Really putting the pressure on. You have to keep your concentration, keep your eyes forward with an Audi behind you because you can hear it from a long way off. It's like an angry wasp just buzzing around behind you. But Raikkonen doing what he needs to do at this moment in time. Oh, as he runs a little bit wide. Does he manage to keep it out in front? Smith really close, coming up towards the Schumacher S's now. Maybe he can get a run going up towards the fast left-hander at the top of the hill. I think we've just dropped that just a little bit. So World League racing was a thing that some familiar names actually. John Roberts, myself, Andrew Whitehead, Sean Gardner. We used to be admins on a Forza league back in the day, pretty much like iRacing. We run a league on there, and then we brought it to iRacing and called it the World League Sim Racing, and run a few seasons just after the club series had shut down. We run a Jetta and Kia multi-class races, and that was that run for 3 seasons. Yeah, a lot of fun there. Season 3 we expanded from the Kia and the Jetta and put the Ford Mustang in. Unfortunately, we kind of spread our butter pretty thin at that point. There was only a few drivers in each of the classes, but it was a lot of fun. It was just one of those like turn up, have a bit of a laugh, have a good race. Didn't have any kind of sourness to it at all. You know, it was just all good fun, and everyone enjoyed it.
There we are. For this promotional event for Apex Racing League, we are promoting a league which was a thing 2 years ago. Yeah.
In fact, if you look at some of Andrew Whitehead's paints, he still runs the World League Sim Racing logos on.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
In terms of other Apex Racing League promotion, do check out the Apex Racing League website, apexracingleague.com. We've got the Touring Car Championship, which is currently full of drivers, and the GT Championship as well, which is coming to an end, but will be renewed in coming weeks. So certainly do check out. Joe will post something on the Facebook page and the Twitter page at some point with details to sign up for next season. And of course, we will be doing a few more special events in the coming months as well.
I just unmuted myself. Just wanted to know what special events were coming up. Come on, Sam. Give us the dirt. Tell us what we got.
Well, I'm skeptical.
While we're watching this barrel, and sorry, just to leap in. Hello, everyone. You know, nice to be here. Doing the cameras. They tried to keep me quiet, but I have the power.
Who are you? I've never.
Let me get the stick. Nice, come on, Sam. What special events? I want to know now.
Okie dokie. So Zolder, 24 hours. Not a proper 24 hours. Because we like to sleep. But we could do like a 4-hour event, or it would be 4 hours or 6 hours, I think. So Radical, TCR, Porsche Cup, and GT4, I think. Those are the cars that run in real life Zolder 24 hours, so that would be pretty fun. Of course, anyone who follows iRacing knows that there's no 6 hours of the Glen at the moment, at least as a special event, so obviously going to have to host one of them. Maybe a Brit Car 24, but again, not 24 hours, but maybe 4-6 hours around Silverstone. So again, TCR, probably Mazda, Radical, or stuff like that, which would be really good. And of course, all preparation events as well for the special events coming up later on in the year as well. So keep your eyes out on sign-up details for that.
Well done. Well done indeed. While you were saying that, we was looking at Smith and Reich, and currently going as they have been for a while. Smith showing a lot of restraint, I feel. He does look like he's a little bit quicker at this moment in time, but just sticking behind. And while all that's been going on, Fletcher has just been doing what he does best, getting his head down and just putting the laps in. Very quick is Mark Fletcher, and he's not too far, just over 2 seconds behind Reich and Smith, just up ahead of Smith. Looks like he's gone wide. He's slowed up a little bit, falling back from the back of Reich.
Morten Sterregard has come into the pits from 10th place overall. Could be quite close between him and Grimbergas when he comes back out on track. 28 seconds stationary was Grimbergas, and actually they're taking tyres. Tyres take different times, of course, in different cars. So, for example, the MP4-30 will take you 3.5 seconds. I believe though all the GT3s are pretty much 26 seconds for everyone. So I think the length of the pit stop is basically decided by how long you take tyres for, or however long the tyres take. I don't think fuel is too much of a factor. Stuttgart is now getting back away, 28.8 stationary, so back into the lead will go Grinbergas, but only just. It's a decent size gap. It's about 5, 6, 7 seconds, something like that. So good news there for Grinbergas, pretty much the same length of pit stop, but Stuttgart will have fresher tyres, so we see if he can close the gap in the remaining 40 minutes.
I don't know whether it's just me, but the GT4s sound epic when you're outside of them. They just don't sound quite the same when you're inside. I don't get the correlation between them. As you see Caglione still pounding the laps. Look at him go. He's still got an even bigger lead than we saw previously. I'm going to do it. I'm going to commit to it. He's driving well. He is definitely driving well. We haven't seen any mistakes from him so far, and he's really navigating this incredibly difficult circuit with quite an amount of ease at the moment.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
there's been many very good drivers who have crashed so far today. So when we see these, I'm not sure. I'm not totally familiar with Caglioni. To be fair, he might be the world's best Porsche Cup driver on iRacing. But no, it's really impressive what he's doing at the moment against when others have made many mistakes. Nella, will he retake the lead out of the TCRs? Here comes Roos. It could be quite close. I think Roos might just be ahead as he accelerates coming out of the pits. Nella goes to the outside, and Nella is just ahead. However, they are almost line astern. Well, this could be. Oh, well, as running a little bit wide there's Nella. He would have been watching his mirrors rather than watching the track ahead of him. And this is the opportunity, perhaps, for Roos to go down the inside. Roos managed to get ahead of Nella earlier on when Nella made a mistake. And Roos would really like to get ahead because Nella was pulling away earlier on. Round the outside he goes again. And it can't quite work out for him. But, well, an hour and 25 minutes into this race, and they are just as close as they were at the start.
Just shows how important it was for Nella.
Oh!
Oh, getting the rear end kicking out. Look at that go. It's funny enough, Alex and I were talking about the TCR doing exactly that before we came on air this evening. But testament to Nella having that incident. He managed to keep it going. It just showed how paramount it was for him to get back to the pits and get the car repaired as quickly as possible and back out, because his outlap, he's put an absolute blinder in. To catch back up with Roos, catch up the gap that Roos had created, and he's fought an epic battle through the stadium section, and he's now taken the lead again in the TCRs. Big shout out to George Simmons, by the way, for doing that livery.
It looks great.
That's that's their VLN livery, the Boosted team. That's what they run. Although at the 12 Hours of Suzuka this past weekend, they run that livery and called it the Boosted Pacific Squadron, I think it was. But yeah, a great livery from George. Of course, we know how good he is from seeing the helmets he's been doing for a number of years. But good to see he can do cars as well.
Don't know if you've seen. I seriously doubt you have seen it. But by any chance, have you seen the Never Quit Racing V8 Supercar livery with a very similar design to that?
Oh no, I haven't.
It was very good. You might have to watch a broadcast from a couple of seasons ago, back when they were that. But yeah, very similar to that with the teeth out the front as well. No, that looks absolutely superb. This is Becker and Ward. Toby Ward, by the way, I was having a little bit of a chat with him earlier on just before the broadcast. And this is first ever race, is what he said. Not sure if he's done many officials, he might well be a rookie. I'm not quite sure. In fact, we do have that information on the overlay. I don't have that option up, and I can't be bothered to get the option up. However, he might be a rookie, and this is his first ever race, so he was very nervous. but he's done a pretty good job.
There we go.
Uh,
Look, D1.3.
D1.3. Well, do a few races around Nordschleife and you'll be fast-tracked before he knows it. This is
Baptism of
the best.
fire, isn't it?
Yeah. The best safety racing circuit this in all of iRacing. And yeah, he's doing really well at the moment. So 9 minute 24 on that last lap. Just compared to the race leaders like Kostanak, he's about 45 seconds off the pace, is what I'm seeing. But he's consistent, only 2 seconds off his fastest lap time. Last time, I say Toby Ward doing a very good job and avoiding the walls, which is what you need to do, and still ahead of Becca as well. These two are actually quite similarly matched right now.
Well, of course, the TCR would be significantly slower to the faster classes in here. I'm not sure how he stacks up against Nella, though.
I don't know why I was looking at Kostanak, but Nella, what times is Nella doing? 54. Oh no, 9 minute 4. Okay, so 20 seconds off the pace then. Which around a normal circuit would be about what, like maybe 3 seconds off the pace. So no, it's pretty
About
strong.
that, though. And when you consider that Alex is a 3.2k I rating, 3.3k I rating, that's that's quite a long way ahead of where Toby is at this moment in time in his iRacing career. But it just shows how good Toby is doing, and I definitely tip my hat to him. What a you just kind of roll your sleeves up and give it a go, don't you? Is what we're looking at, and he's doing phenomenally well.
Absolutely. Here is Mark Fletcher, who's up into second place. He last pitted on lap 8. So in fact, he's got past Jasper Raikkonen. So Joshua Powell was ahead of these drivers before. As this is how Fletcher got past Smith. Right.
Of course, we saw Smith and Raikkonen battling before. Fletcher was just looming behind him, wasn't he, gradually catching him. We see Raikkonen was actually off the circuit. I wonder if he just got a little bit of a swapper coming in through the short, the tight chicane at the start of the lap. Either way, he was off the track and Fletcher passes him. Raikkonen now just be hoping he can tag on to the back of Fletcher and maybe catch him back up again towards the end of this lap.
Now 47 seconds behind Botcher. Botcher's pitted twice, hasn't he? It's just been really quick.
I believe so, yes.
Fletcher pitting. Oh, Fletcher pitted twice as well because he pitted on lap 1 as well. And lap 8 should be able to get to the end of the race. We're now on lap 11. Just trying to think how much time these guys had when they pitted. So if they pit on lap 8, that would have been 8 times 8 is 64. Oh yeah, it would have been about an hour and 5 into the race. So yeah, he should be alright for fuel, should Fletcher to get to the end. Won't have any more fuel to spare, but should have enough. So it's looking pretty good for that second place. He'll certainly have one over his teammates. A few of them entering this race as well. By the way, great to see Derwin Kostanak back in the race. He's been back in the race for a little while, just making his way up through the order. Kostanak earlier on was leading the GT4 class. However, he then got involved in a crash by himself actually, and sorry, he was leader of the of the Porsche Cup class, and he was involved in a crash and lost that lead. So shame that occurred. However, he is only 5 seconds behind Nick Dawes, which is the next car in his category, and lapping about 20 seconds lap faster. So I think he'll be on to Dawes very soon. There is Dawes going quite slow. I think that's just the line that you take to that first chicane, which used to be a very nice chicane. It used to be quite a fast right-left. Saw a horrendous crash, I believe it was at the start of the 99 F1 Grand Prix. lot happened in that race. Which was part of the reason why they got rid of it, and Tilke kind of had his way with that circuit, adding a few extra corners to it. But I do kind of wish we had that old chicane rather than that very makeshift one that we have now.
I do find it very, very clumsy, and that's being polite about it, to be honest. Yeah, not a fan of the first couple of corners here, but yeah, Dawes might be in a little bit of trouble. Not immediately, but as you say, Kostanak is driving pretty well at the moment and putting in some stellar lap times. Raikkonen has come into the pits, it seems.
That's a bit strange. I think I saw him. Oh, sorry, no, apparently he hasn't come into the pits yet. Apologies. So he came into the pits earlier, but we had to reset our stats about halfway through the race, so hasn't pitted since.
Oh,
Ooh.
Paul Smith with a big one, a big one coming into the fast right and left handers at the end of the lap. That was massive. I imagine, yeah, there he goes. He's towed back. Again, little bit of the grass, and it will spit you out. Sorry to cut over you there, Sam, but that was massive.
Yeah, so Paul Smith, one of the few drivers who hadn't made a mistake or a large mistake so far in this race, and even he has fell on this occasion. So I'm not sure if he's used his fast repair. Hopefully we see Smith back out on circuit, but he hasn't got a fast repair available. There's no way we will see him back out on track. Now this is looking good. Paul Joslin, who we haven't talked about too much. I think we remember him being in the fray for the race win earlier on when Grinbergas and Stergaard were fighting. However, Joslin with good pace recently is catching up. This is the battle for second place.
He is indeed, yeah. He was right at the front, as you say, and then just I don't know whether it was issues of his own or those around him. He seemed to lose touch a little bit, but he's back up behind Stergaard Velsen now, battling for this second place. Very tough. Like, what do you do at this point? You're into your last half hour. You've already done a massive amount of the hard work. Now it's a case of just bringing that car home. How aggressive do you get? You just sit behind for a majority of the lap, and then try and get a move done on the last straight, hoping that you can stick with them that far, or do you try and get it done early and be safe in the knowledge that then you can try and defend it?
Oh, that's off just ahead. I think when maybe just wait for a mistake. I'm not quite sure. I think Dotnaho would be a good chance. However, with the pace that Jocelyn has got, might be able to catch up to Grinbergas. He was actually 3 seconds faster than Grinbergas on the last lap. Gap is 9 seconds at the moment to the GT4 leader. We've still got probably 3 or 4 more laps to go at the end of this one. Probably 3 more laps to go at the end of this one. So if he's quick, then he might even be able to challenge for the race win, which would be some comeback for Paul Joslin if he could manage it.
Kostanak has caught and passed Nick Dawes for second place in the Cup class. I had to check what class it was. Definitely the Cup class. Yeah, so he's caught up the gap that we saw and spoke about earlier, and he is now passing for P2.
If anyone's watching along and is taking part in the 24 hours on Saturday, let us know what car class you're entering in, and also what your expectations for the race is. If you got any experience as well, basically tell us anything about what your hopes are for that. Personally, I'm not doing it. I don't think Adam is doing it, as we just see Stergaard now come under massive pressure. Oh, nearly contact there. Alex Simpson, are you taking part in Nordschleife on Saturday?
Well, no, I'm locked down away from my rig, so I can't do any
course.
racing. Yeah, I'm able to broadcast, but I can't actually race. My rig even. Oh, someone off. What's that?
Oh, that's
That's the leader.
Grinberger from the lead.
you get a replay of
Wow.
that, and yeah, I'll continue with
What
the
an
fact that my rig is the other side of town, so can't get to it. COVID-19, keeping my family safe by staying away from them. Oh dear, not where
Oh,
you want to lose it.
that's a wriggle. It's an odd one, isn't it? Like, it's before he's got to the braking zone. He just got a bit of a wiggle on and just couldn't correct it quickly enough before hitting that braking zone. Oh, what a bad break! What a bad break for Gringbergers.
Yep, who had gone from right at the back of the GT4s, didn't set a qualifying time, so started last out of this category. Got himself to the front within the first 40 minutes of the race, and was pulling away, built himself a 8-second gap, but it's all gone now, and he's a long way behind these drivers. Kostanak just moving his way past, because from a different class is Kostanak. Who is the next? Driver that he's got to be careful about. Husum will be next, and Husum isn't far behind. Currently is 20 seconds behind Grimbergas. He might have to come into the pits as well to fix the damage that he's got. Nope, he hasn't used his fast repair. This is when you really wish that you didn't use your fast repair during your first pit stop. Do believe it comes on by default, so you do actually have to untick it to not take the fast repair at the pit stop. Even if you have no damage, it will still use it up. So really is problematic. Greenbergers is off the track again. And we might just see him a little bit further up here. He is just trying to limp that car back. Certainly is going to have to take some repairs.
Oh, that looks a handful, doesn't it? Blimey.
I
Just shows
remember.
how. Oh, sorry, go on.
Well, I remember. I can't remember if it was the Cup class or the GT4 class earlier on, but we saw two leaders pulling away, and I did say it's not going to be simple, and that's certainly how it's turned out to be.
It just shows how quickly this track can bite you. It's unlike anything anywhere else. I mean, Bathurst is a challenge because it's all walled and it's some of the elevation changes, but this is the ultimate test in my eyes. I don't know whether you guys think the same, but this is the ultimate. This is if you can survive here for any amount of time, it's an achievement. Just doing one lap clean is an achievement. And the sense of relief whenever you see a checkered flag, regardless of the length of the race, you're relieved. You need to lie down. You need time to recover, even in the sim race.
Yeah, probably is the most tricky circuit on iRacing. I'd love to see Macau. Macau 24 hours. Obviously LMP1. Shall we say LMP1, LMP2, Kia, and MX5?
Kia.
I think that would be good.
I was driving the Porsche LMP1 today for a little bit at Interlagos.
Oh,
A
yeah?
fun car to drive. Yeah, I'm not smart enough to be able to. Oh,
Oh,
Boucher goes for a spin at turn 1. Oh, the leaders of the GT4s getting round him, done the smart thing, just held his brakes, just waited for him. It's he's not under any immediate danger, so he didn't need to get back on the gas and get going again straight away. But yeah, no, it's I'm not smart enough to be able to manage my my ERS deployment, so I let the hybrid deployment, so I let the car do it for me.
I didn't know that you were expected to do it manually. I drove that car for about 2 weeks, and then wasn't particularly interested by it. Alex Simpson did a lot of work, I believe, with it. That and the MP4-30, of course. Did you manually deploy the NG, Alex?
Yeah, you have to if you want to be quick. You have to do it. Yeah, I found it.
That's why I was slow.
I found it extremely frustrating. Just the same as the McLaren was as well. So, yeah, of course, it's not like that in real life. They're certainly not deploying it. So, yeah, they never seem to quite get that right.
I don't know if we
hopefully they
can.
do.
I don't know if we can skip forward a little bit and have a look at Joshua Poe's car. Because while we were talking about LMP1s, I caught a glimpse of his car. There we are on screen now. And it just reminded me of Rebellion.
Yes. Yep.
That's quite a smart. I know I talk about paints a lot, but I'm a painter. I enjoy doing liveries, and yeah, that's a nice one, isn't it? I like that.
Yeah, that's going to take some time to do that, I think. Get that all lined up.
Unfortunately, the GT3 cars aren't too bad. When you're looking at the Audi, is it the R18, the LMP car? That's like a little jigsaw puzzle. There's so many little elements and winglets that you have to try and put together. That was particularly difficult to do. But GT3s aren't too bad. But yeah, it still takes some time to line all those splashes up. But
If
smart
I
looking car.
remember the hardest car, we were talking back in the day when I used to do some painting and things like that. It was the old Dallara Indy car. I can't remember what the model is. It the O5 or something like that? That thing is ridiculous. It's got tiny little bits here, there, and everywhere. So yeah, any painters in the chat? What do you think the hardest car is that you've had to paint was? That for me was definitely right up there. Absolute beep 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 beep.
I think we may have had a change for the lead in the GT4 class with Stergaard getting past. Oh, sorry, Jocelyn getting past Stergaard.
We did while we were back. Let's do a replay of that.
It's on the GP circuit. And, oh, this is going to look pretty simple, I think, going into Dunlop. Just puts this car down the inside. Maybe the GTD helping him a little bit. And through goes Paul Johnson into the lead for the first time in a while. May have started ahead of Sturgard. He did start ahead of Sturgard, in fact, by quite a long way, but still quite early on, I think, did Jocelyn, but has to go back now into the lead, and that gap has already opened up to 1.4 seconds. There it is. Still got to keep it on the tarmac, still got to keep up a decent pace in order to win out, but looking very good right now for Paul Jocelyn to take this GT4 class.
We just got just over 15 minutes remaining. Should we do another little roundup? Shall we run through the top 3 with 15 to go? I think that'd be a nice thing to do.
Good idea.
So there's your leader, Andre Bocha. As we see him, just a moment ago, we actually saw him involved in the pass for the GT4 lead. Fletcher is in P2, almost a minute behind, but still going well. And then Joshua Poe in the lovely Rebellion-looking car is your P3 as it stands. In the Porsche Cup, we literally only have the 3 runners remaining still, which is a shame. So we have Caglioni, who's out in front by quite a considerable margin after Kostanak and Dawes have issues. There we go. You can see on the little mini map on the right hand side of your screen there, Caglioni, the number 1 blue dot there, is in the stadium section, while Kostanak and Dawes are both way around the other side of the circuit, out in the hills. Not much of a fight there for that one, unfortunately. In the GT4s, we have Paul Joslin leading the way. We just seen him take the lead from Morten Sturgard Belston. Nice move down into the hairpin in the stadium section. And then Simon Rue Hassam, I should say, sorry, excuse me, running in P3 with a pretty comfortable lead over Lyndon Spady as it stands. And then finally in the TCRs, it's Alex Neller once again, after his incidents, has managed to get back to the front and has pulled almost 6 seconds clear of Gabriel Roos, who is no mean feat that he's been putting in today. He's been driving well up until this point, and then he's got a significant gap back to Matthias Magnussen, his teammate, rounding out your podiums. And yeah, with just under 15 minutes to go, that is how we stand going into crunch time.
Thanks for that.
You're very welcome.
Again, Marco Balcone would be very glad. He's very happy with his race windows. Unfortunately, there's no Sim Racers World GT Championships in mind, which is where he kind of formulated that before. Still a few other events, I think. I'm doing a commentary tomorrow, and I can't remember what it is. But you're doing a commentary on Friday, aren't you, Ad?
I am, yes. I'm doing the Kokoro Invitational Series, the Formula 3s with all of the young talent, real-world drivers. which is yeah, exciting for that one. Some great racing last time out, so hoping for more of the same this week.
I am doing the Digital Motorsports Championship tomorrow. And also the Israel iRacing League as well is on tomorrow. So just yeah, check out that one. Subscribe to Apex Racing TV, and you'll have all those events ping up on your screens. Toby Ward and Dennis Becker, these two have been absolutely locked together. It's like Becker is a bit cautious to go for an overtake. So you're certainly pushing each other quite a bit. I'm sure they'd love to finish ahead of one another. This is the battle for 6th in class or 5th in class even. They got so Christopher Ems. Ooh, this could be good. What class is Ems? Yeah, Ems is TCR. So Christopher Ems, who was moved up into 3rd place right off the start, I remember. But then got involved in a crash quite early on in the event. He is coming at them pretty quick right now by about 10 seconds a lap. Even more than that. On that last time round, he was 20 seconds faster. He's 18 seconds behind, so he should catch him past them by the end of the race, because the race leader is just starting his 13th lap. And we've got... Oh, this is going to be close, isn't it? So we've got 8... Oh, sorry, no, it's not going to be close. Apologies. I'm watching the wrong timer. So yeah, two more laps to go for the race leader. So we'll be two more laps after this one for these TCRs, I believe, unless they are lapped.
You got me all excited then. I thought we was going to have nail biting. Do people have enough fuel to get to the end? But once again, can we just all appreciate what Toby Ward is doing at the moment? As you were describing to us earlier, Sam, he's incredibly new to iRacing. This is his first race out of the rookies, and he's putting on a great show, isn't he? He's keeping it clean, keeping it safe. His car is immaculate, you know, apart from the discarded rubber and such. But yeah, fantastic drive from him. Really good to see someone just giving it a go. That's what we all like, isn't it?
Definitely. Not sure about Dennis Becker. I experience he is on iRacing, but it's certainly great to see you have a couple of drivers who are so evenly matched out on track. Not off just a moment ago for Nick Dawes, however, he does seem to be all right. Would you say this circuit is much easier in front-wheel drive cars compared to rear-wheel drives, or would you say the challenge is just the same?
Oh, that's a tough one. I used to love blasting an MX-5 round here. That was great fun, but I suppose it's pretty dangerous doing it as well. But you never really thought about it. I think the front wheel drives are a bit easier. I think front wheel drives just a bit easier, full stop, from my point of view. As you see, Melakar making a move. Who's that? It's one of them, Jammer or Yammer. I'm sorry if either one of those. I'm sorry if I got one of them wrong. Having a battle down the Dottinger Ho. They motor through those last couple of corners, don't they? They brake so late. Oh, a little bit too late from Melakar there. We're going to go with Yammer. Gives Yammer a chance to get alongside again. Melakar will have the inside coming down into turn 1. But if Yammer can hold it, he'll have the inside for the little chicane. So here we go, down into the hill now. Oh, Yammer just comes across and he just covers it. Melakar looked like he locked up just a touch. And it is done. Yammer takes the position P5 in the GT4s. But yes, front-wheel drive's definitely easier.
Yeah. I think that was defending for Yama, so I imagine Melachar might come back in a bit. On that last lap, Melachar was 2 seconds faster, so Ports and they nearly passed him, but they are quite evenly matched. Into the pits is Nick Dawes. Now, I did see him on the last lap pick up and off track, and I said how, oh, he's off the track, but he's fine now. Looks like he went off the track, then proceeded to hit a wall, and then went back on his way, so back into the pits, and not taking a fast repair, it seems. So, shame for Nick Dawes was third place out. Oh, well, remaining third place out of the cup cars.
Looking at the damage on the front right of his car, yeah, that was a little touch. Oh, Fletcher, oh, he almost rolled it as well. Oh, Fletcher incredibly lucky, Dawes incredibly lucky. Oh, not what you want in the closing stages of a race, is it? Any race, but let alone here when there's minimal room to avoid. That was incredibly close.
Yeah, Fletcher will. Oh, that was good. It's good driving too fair from Fletcher to get on the brakes just to be able to avoid that one. But yeah, Dawes already using his fast repair swing, so I doubt we'll see him back out on track by the end of the race. Got yeah, this lap and one more for the drivers out there. There is Bocha. 10 now ahead. Mark Fletcher's been a little bit slower than maybe we'd expect. As oh no, Raikkonen, what have you done? He is off the track. Here's Jasper at the moment in 4th place. I think this might be quite a serious issue for him. Hopefully he hasn't picked up too much damage. Oh, there he is. Oh, he's still trying to go. Here it is. He was catching up to Joshua Powell, just ahead. Ooh. Strange one, Adam. He seemed to have that one all right, and then had a swapper on the brakes.
That is a typical Ferrari doing typical Ferrari things. Sometimes when you don't get the weight transfer right, it can twitch on you. And unfortunately, when you're going at a serious rate of knots as he was there, you're not going to get it stopped before you hit the corner. Very unlucky. Oh, did you see Becker run wide? Becker into the wall. Oh, and over the curb as well. A little bit of kangaroo action there for Dennis Becker. That's a real shame because these two have been brilliant, haven't they? As we've been watching in the last couple of laps. Hopefully, he hasn't got too much damage. Might have scraped the underside of his car a little bit. Put my teeth in. Yeah, it might be down on a bit of top speed, but it doesn't appear to be a lot of damage. Although he's bouncing a little bit more. I don't know whether that's just his setup. He does seem to be a little bit bouncy.
Just a bit. Maybe it's that tactic you were saying earlier on where you jump up and down your seat.
That could be it.
I mean, I think that's what he's doing right there. To be fair, it's helping him. He is closing the gap to the driver ahead. Yama and Melichar, by the way, are mega close to him. Yama is, I'm seeing, 1/10 of a second ahead. Now he's a little bit further ahead, although not a lot. Here we go. No, that would have been, well, that would have been a very stupid move. Going into that corner. Wisely backs out of it. And Becker's got ahead of Ward. So just as we pull away, apologies, because I drew us away there. It turns out that Becker has got ahead of Ward, although Ward has just come back. It's all going on the GP circuit. And Ward did fall behind for a moment. But Becker must have, I don't know, maybe went mega deep into the first part of turn 1. Couldn't get it turned around for the second part. Here we are. So Ward on the inside here. And, yeah, brakes too early. But it turned out to be braking perfectly. He managed to stay ahead.
Yeah, it looked a weird one, that, didn't it? It looked like he was going way too slow coming into the first apex, but he
Oh,
dear. Bit of contact there. Becker into the back of Ward this time.
Oh, he's waiting for it.
Yeah, Becker. Oh, they're all waiting for each other by the looks of it. After you, gentlemen. Who wants to go first?
And Ems gets to the pair of them. He was on a charge with Ems. And was probably thinking it's going to be a little bit more tricky than that, but it's absolutely fine. Ems moves up into 5th place now, out of the TCR cars. You knew that was going to happen, to be fair. But there he is, getting past. A little bit further ahead in the GT4 cars. For the win. Sorry, not for the win. For second, third, fourth,
Keep going.
fifth.
There we go.
Oh dear. My
You know
goodness,
me,
that
I'm not
is
going to help you out when you
ridiculous.
start doing that kind of stuff. I'm going to let you read all the numbers out.
Apologies. Can we get a little bit of footage of Swabby out there? I don't think we've seen much of Lyndon today. There he is. Nice delivery as well.
What a
Um,
blast from the past seeing Lyndon drive. I haven't seen him for a long time.
I've never seen him before. What are you familiar with him from?
World League Sim Racing.
Aha.
Yeah, no, he was a participant in that. Used to, I think he might have done the Thursday BSRTC at some point. Yeah, I think, but it's been a long time. I haven't seen him recently, so it's good to see Lyndon out again. Good to see that he's still around. Good guy is Lyndon. But sorry, Sam, I kind of sidetracked what you was going to say about him.
I was just complimenting him, I think. Got a bit of damage on that car, but that rear wing is looking very nice. The front of the car, a little bit scuffed up, but no, still has got decent pace. Pretty close actually is the GC4 class, probably the closest class that we got out there. By the way, race leaders on the last lap. We are approaching the 2-hour mark in a couple of minutes. Boatjet has started this lap, and so to quote John Humphreys, the starter say he will finish. And still a couple, yeah, a little bit of on board through the Nordschleife section now with Andre Bocher. 8 minute 25 that last time. That's 16 seconds slower than his best time. Do you reckon that's him just backing off Adam, making sure that he wins this one, or maybe a little bit of damage that he's accumulated earlier on, or maybe the tyres even?
Being a Williams esports driver, do they back off? I think they're pretty much start to finish flat out, aren't they? I do wonder if maybe he got his fuel calculations a little bit wrong, so maybe had to save just a little bit. You know, 16 seconds is a long time just to ease off. You know, just chill out and bring the car home. That's an awful lot of time.
I'll chime in here a little bit. I've raced against Andre a fair bit in the past, World Championship Grand Prix Series and all that stuff. And I'll tell you what, he'd be one of the most sensible drivers in that team. So, having had his little accident earlier on, there is no way he's at full chat right now.
He was very reluctant to change out of 5th gear right there. I don't know if anyone else saw that. He was properly in the rev limiter in 5th, not wanting to move up into 6th for some reason. Let's see if he moves into 6th here. Oh, he does. Okay. No, but on the straight floor, he wasn't moving up into 6th for some reason. I don't know what that's about.
Oh, he's still launching it over the curbs, isn't he? Still got to take those lines. Doesn't matter how fast you're going, whether you're doing an easing off, taking it taking it cool kind of lap, or whether you're going at full beans. You still take the same lines, don't you? You see him launching it over the curb there. But what a performance from him, by the way. Just to reiterate, such a gap. We saw Mark Fletcher at the weekend. He is not a bad driver by any stretch of the imagination, but he has been truly dominating today.
Yeah, and while so many of his teammates have gone off into the walls, Andre has kept it on the track. I am definitely going to tune in to see how Williams do actually at the weekend. I'd be really interested to see if they learn from their mistakes today, or whether they are just susceptible to a few incidents. We know how they're obviously great drivers, but of course Nordschleife is a totally different challenge. See if they are a bit of a liability potentially in that team, or whether when push comes to shove, when it really comes down to it, then they're able to extract that extra bit of concentration and be able to pull out a great result. And hopefully it will be the latter. Certainly, I don't think Andre is going to be the weak link out of whatever car he is driving. Twist and angle. I think there might be a move on this last lap between the two of them. They both pitted quite recently. They pitted a couple of laps ago, the two of them. In fact, actually pitted on the last lap. They're actually still on their 14th lap, whilst Parisi is on a different lap. As Caglioni comes in from the lead of the Porsche Cup class, which is It's a bit strange. Maybe. But the Porsches look. Oh! Hit the up into the wall. Alright, I don't think that's too bad. That was a curse.
But this is the thing with this track.
Maybe
It
I'll
doesn't matter.
retract my previous statement. Maybe he is going for it.
Well, he didn't feel like he was pushing. It was almost a little bit of a clumsy mistake, wasn't it?
We've all cursed everyone tonight.
I think it's one of those, and Alex, you'll I say you'll know this better than us. You've driven at a higher standard amongst some of the best that are on iRacing. When you try to back off like that, accidents can happen more often than you'd really want them to, because you're so used to trying to push the cars. Could it just be that then he was just trying to chill out and do it, and he just got caught out with how the car was?
You know what? I think I think you're probably on the money there, because there has been many a times where I've come out in a team event, and you know those first couple of laps where you're like, right, I must not mess it up in the first lap, so you take it just a little bit easy, and of course you wallop massive sausage curbs or things like that because you're going just a bit too slow, and you end up damaging the car in the first lap that you're in it. You're like, that was not the plan. And I wonder, yeah, exactly, if perhaps just a little bit slower there than usual, so the car's just not producing the same sort of downforce and not tracking it out quite as he was expecting. It just caught him out a little bit there.
And of course, it shows at this track that it doesn't matter how good a driver you are, this track can bite you. It doesn't matter if you're driving the perfect race, hitting all your apexes and whatnot. The track conspires against you, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't care who you are. It will bite. God, he's still taking curb there, isn't he? Big old lift up off the left side of the car then as you come down the hill.
Still a minute ahead of Mark Fletcher in second place. Ward and Becker still changing places. By the way, also, Melechar got past Yama. It's actually been able to pull away since then. And Engel is right onto the back of Kliss on that last lap. Engel was 17 seconds faster. Jeez, maths, come on. 17 seconds faster than Kliss, so I imagine we'll be able to get past at some point on this lap. But out in the lead, Andre Botcher almost weaving down that straight. Don't think he's got too much stain damage after that late incident. Rather put a little bit of a dent on that car. A tiny bit of damage, I think, but I don't think it's affecting him too much. Doesn't need a whole lot of pace here. He has been absolutely superb today. Didn't make the mistakes of his teammates. And has also been mega quick. Perfect preparation for the 12 hours and a perfect confidence boost as well for the weekend. Andre Botcher wins in the Apex Racing League Nurburgring 2 hours events overall, and GT3 victory goes to him. The next class leader across the line won't be Caglione, because he's only about a third the way round the lap. Looks as though it will be Paul Joslin, who's been able to open up a 6-second lead ahead of Morten Stergaard. And I mean, Joslin's been great today. Look, that car got a bit of rubber on it and marbles on the paint, but looks pretty clean, I must say, Adam. And he's been a little bit under the radar, but no, he's definitely looking strong for the 24 hours.
He is, yes. So we see Kostanak coming over to. Oh, he's going to be finishing second in the Porsche Cup. Words, Adam. Words. Category.
Class?
There we go. There we go. Class. There we go. Mark Fletcher now comes across the line as well to take P2. Good drive from Mark as well. Your question about Joslin. He has looked good today. We have seen him in a couple of little battles, haven't we? And he's driven sensibly. He's driven carefully, and yeah, he's brought the car home in one piece. That's the most important thing here.
Josh Poe, he's going to bring it home in one piece. Good drive from Joshua Poe to finish on the podium. Congrats to him. The 154 car. Jocelyn comes across the line, just behind. Here he is. And he will win in the GT4 category. Congrats to Paul Joslin. Only 6.5 seconds clear of Storygart in the end. You pushed him all the way. It was a late move for Joslin. Only about 20 minutes remaining when he made the move, but had enough time in the end. Here is Raikön as well. Next race winner. I believe who will be the next race winner, actually. I guess it will be Nella, won't it? Yep, Nella, who I think is just approaching the Dotner height. Here is Husum, and he will finish on the podium in third place, very under the radar as well. Was Simon Raw Husum. Haven't seen him too many battles, but once again, very clean kart there. And the 55 machine rounds out the GT4 podium at Nurburgring. And it looks as though Melichar is going to beat Yama. Only just, and Swarby is going to beat the pair of them by about half a minute. Very good job from the Car 100.
It really shows how you need to approach this track, doesn't it? The cars that are finishing highest up are generally the ones that haven't had the incidents, that have kept it tidy, driven sensibly, cautiously, and accurately. Not necessarily fighting tooth and nail for positions, but they're bringing the car home as so maybe they're ducks off into the pits just to spice things up a little bit. But yeah, the clean cars are usually at the front around here. Often find that. We've seen Nella now coming down the Dottinger Ho, looking to bring home the TCR victory.
Yeah, he's been pushed all the way. Alex Nella did have a crash, didn't he, at one point, which really damaged his car. Managed to get back to the pits, was a convenient time for him. Made his pit stop as normal, taking the fast repair. But in terms of pace, certainly no one was beating him today. Alex Nella comes across the line and he wins in the TTR class. Gabriel Roos. He pushed him hard. He tried absolutely everything. Roos, maybe if he'd stayed ahead after the pit stops, perhaps could put up a more tight challenge. However, still a good effort to finish in second place. And here comes Matthias Magnussen. Last minute entry. But he will finish on the podium as well. Congrats to him. Becca and Ward must have literally just crossed the line in time. Quite a gap between the two of them as well, I believe. Here is Nick Jaws. He's a bit slow. I think he's got enough fuel. He's not spluttering, it seems, but just nursing that car across the line. This will be 23rd overall for Nick Jaws, but credit to him because he had quite a hefty crash. Had to get some of the repairs done, not all the repairs done clearly, but some of the repairs done. He does finish though in third place in that Porsche Cup category. That's that Libya. I don't know if I love it or hate it. Now I'm going psychotic seeing it.
That's exactly the response that John will want from you as well. John coming home in fourth place, King of the Ring himself. Quiet day for him, really, isn't it? We spoke about him once before, and now he's crossed the line. As we see, Caglione, the leader of the GT3s, making his way towards the finish line too. A great race from Caglione, to be honest, isn't it? He's pretty much dominated from start to finish when the incidents kind of took place at the start, and yeah, what a drive from him.
Shame that we didn't see Kostanak battling with it. I think Kostanak was leading in the opening stages, but was only about 5 seconds between those two. But Caglione, unlike Kostanak, has kept it out of the wall. And again, another mega clean car. I don't think that's got an ounce of damage on that car. And it's only got 6 incidents as well across the race. The Italian approached the line and he wins in the Porsche Cup category. Does Leonardo Caglione. Congrats to him. Finished on the lead lap as well. Wasn't lapped by the GT3s, which is a big effort. Paul Clist and Engel didn't get Clist. It was close between them at the line. It was really close. It was half a tenth of a second that Clist in the end managed to beat Engel, who had a much slower last lap. Wonder if he just let Clist have that position. I'm surprised he didn't manage to get ahead, but that is a 7th and 8th place in the GT3 category for those guys. We've still got a couple more actually. They take a while. It's a long track. It is a really, really long track, and we always. Oh yeah, good idea. We could get Alex Nella perhaps in for an interview, just whilst the others are going across the line. We will keep cameras on them. But we will drag him up here, and we will have a chat with Alex Nella. Congratulations, Alex, on that TCR race victory. I mean, that looked close. How we saw you have a little bit of an incident just before the pit stops as well. Take us through that.
Thanks, Sam. Hi, guys. Yeah, what a race. Yeah, Gabriel kept me very, very honest. As you saw, it was very, very close. Yeah, I was pushing 100%, and I guess in the end, the lap before the pit stops, I was pushing maybe 101%. I was pushing a little bit too hard. Just lost it on the brakes coming into Adenauer Forst, and yeah, just plunked it into the barriers. And really, I was incredibly lucky that the TCR is just a tank and just took it, even though it did give me a meatball. So I was lucky to have the fast repair. But yeah, it was a good race, and I'm happy with my performance.
Would you have come into the pits regardless of that incident on that lap, or were you planning to go one lap further? Because in the end, it was quite important that you came in on that lap because it meant that you could get the undercut on your rival, which got you track position.
Yes, I was actually considering pitting on lap 7, but then Cayman, which I was on track with, entered the pit lane at the end of lap 7, so I decided to carry on round again, which turned out to be both a blessing and a curse because on that lap I then binned the car. But yeah, I managed to get the undercut with Gabriel, as you said. So I think I was going to pit at the end of that lap regardless. I was quite surprised to see Gabriel carry on actually and do more than 9 laps because the tires on the TCR can get notoriously spongy and useless towards the end of the stint. So he did well himself to keep the car going at a good pace all the way to the end. 9 laps, I think he did in the end.
How much practice have you been doing for the 24 hours? How confident are you feeling in this car now?
Well, I thought I was feeling pretty confident and doing well, but then I did 14 laps and only managed one meatball. So I guess we'll see how I'm doing come the weekend. But I have been doing a lot of practice on the Nordschleife, doing the iRacing official VLNs, which I've been thoroughly enjoying, and just generally working on my pace in the TCR. I've put in a lot of work over the past few weeks. A little bit of coaching on the side from Apex Boy George, which has been helping a bit as well.
Well, congrats, Alex, on your race win today. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
I'd just like to thank all the Boosted guys for being a great team and giving me the support, and we'll look forward to the weekend.
Awesome. Well, best of luck for the weekend, Alex, and of course ARLTC as well. And we'll see you back soon.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for running this.
So that was Alex Neller there. Dare I say we might be able to go through the results? Is that everyone across the line?
Yeah, perfect timing, yeah, because Toby Wood has just crossed the line.
Yes. I'm not seeing it advance though, so maybe it hasn't. We might we might get another interview. I think we'll get another interview, then we'll go through the results. I think so. I believe we got Mark Fletcher available. Are you happy to have a chat with him, madam?
Yeah, I'll have a chat with Mark.
Smooth.
And here he is. We rudely interrupt his conversation with Alex. But how you doing, Mark? Second place, not quite the highs that you had on Sunday, but a pretty good effort anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. That was one of them. A bit of a damage limitation and a massive fuel save again. I seem to be doing this quite a lot of fuel saving and tyre saving.
Well, it certainly paid off on Sunday. Sorry, on Sunday. So talk us through the opening stages. We saw that there was it was all pretty nip and tuck, wasn't it, between the front sort of 4 or 5 cars, and then there was there was a scattering, as I think there was an incident in front of you that you then got caught up in. What kind of happened during that, and how did that change your strategy going forward?
To be fair, I don't know how I got an absolutely mega start. The Williams guys looked like they got a bit tangled up with each other going into turn one. So I just hooked it into the hairpin as quick as I could, and ended up in P2. And then I was defending going over the brow of the hill. Obviously on cold tyres, I didn't want to push it too far, and just got a slight tap in the rear. It's one of them things. It happens. Um, I thought I could get round with the damage, so I did, but I was just losing so much time on the straights because I realised that I couldn't. I'd never be able to make it. Um, but I had to pit for the fast repair, and then just stuck it in fuel mode too for the rest of the race. I knew I didn't need to change tyres, and just waited for everybody else to fall off. Really.
That's certainly an option around here. Though action, people having incidents plenty. Looking forward to the weekend. Are you running the 24 this weekend?
I am. I'm doing my first 24. Year one, we're putting out 6 cars. Um, so it's been a manic trying to arrange that, but fair play to all the boys. They're putting in loads of time at the minute. But yeah, no, it should be good. We've got a couple of TCR cars and I think 3 or 4 GT3 cars. So yeah, that's going to be mega.
Oh, certainly a strong turnout. How confident are you after tonight, sort of going forward into that? I would imagine that you would probably be in the top team, looking for the big points. How confident are you?
Yeah, that was, when Sam puts these up, I'm always, one of the first in. And I said to the boys, I said, it's great practice. It's racecraft practice around here because you got to be patient and look where you go. Where you're going to overtake. So yeah, that's what it was. It was just practice. The top team, well, I say the top team in brackets, it's going to be me, Ben Hoffman, and Ash. Um, Ash is racing here tomorrow uh, in the Dynamic Sim Racers World, which you guys are looking at. So yeah, it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be fun.
Well, all the best to you and your teams for Sunday. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Always nice to get insight from what you're doing with year one. Um, Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out or to thank?
Yeah, so the standard ones for me really. All the guys at year one, the Thinking Circle guys, Alpha Live, who we're doing a lot of work with now, to do with all their streaming, and all the boys at year one for their support, and Dale for being in chat with me and talking me through that race.
Awesome. Well done tonight. Second place, Mark. Good luck at the weekend. I hope you and the U1 cars have a good run.
Yeah, cheers, Ad. Nice to speak to you.
Take it
See you
easy.
soon.
So that was Mark Fletcher driving for Year One Racing, and finishing in second place today in that GT3 category and overall. Now we are about to get the results up, I think, because we have to wait till the session. Aha! It has magically advanced. Oh, Alex, have we still got the results available? Ah, cool, awesome. So winner then is Andre Butcher in the GT3 and the overall category. So on the front row of the grid, dropped down to third early on, but back into the lead. Barely any mistakes for him. Mark Fletcher finishes about a minute behind. Joshua Poe, I think he had a mistake at some point, did Poe. Could have maybe even been second place for him, but from 11th on the grid, a podium he'll be very pleased with. Jasper Reichen finished in fourth. Then is Theodore Kaponiatis in fifth. Great drive from him. Very consistent, about 4 minutes off the lead in the end. Leonardo Caglioni, the only Porsche Cup really not to make a mistake, but he also had superb pace anyway. Paul Joseph Klist was in seventh, and Bjorn Engel right behind him, 1/10 of a second, half a tenth of a second, just behind in eighth. The rest of the GT3s were Paul Smith, Michael Fink Bonner, Arthur Lehook, Moreno Sirica, who led for so long, Jackie Lotzman, Ashley Beard, Nathan Parkinson, Michael Dreschler, and Andrew Langham Service. In the Porsche Cups, then, like I said before, Leonardo Caglioni finished top with Derwin Kostanak in second place after having to tow back to the pits at one point. Did recover back up in second. Nick Dawes finished it 2 laps down with a very injured car. The other drivers who retired, unfortunately, were Leonardo Fornaroli, Jeffrey Garzotto, and Marcel Heyman. What could have been for Garzotto? Remember, he got taken out, didn't he? A third the way into the first lap of the race. Could have been a great battle in that Porsche Cup class. In the GT4s, Paul Joslin came back from third place at one point to win out. Martin Sturgart Feltsen was in second place, who led many laps out there, did Morton. Simon Rohr Husum rounds out the podium. There's Lyndon Swabe, John Melichar, who just about beat Zach Yama. Good battle between those two. Gustas Grinbergas, who was well on course for the race victory, crashed with 4 laps to go, finishes top of the retirees. And the only other retiree in that class were Gregorio Caraldi, who did not complete the first lap. He retired on the first lap, did the 9.71 car. Then in the TCRs, Alex Nella won out by about 5 seconds over Gabriel. It was a great battle between the two of them. Matthias Magnussen a nearby third. John Roberts, very lonely race for him in fourth, but still a good result. Christopher Ems had to recover from an early incident. Got back up into fifth on the penultimate lap. Then it was Dennis Becker and Toby Ward. David Van Broek retired from the race. However, he did finish the race, to be fair, did Van Broek, but had to come in for a while for repairs. Hal Stadler definitely did retire. So too did Chris Danes and Victor Suarez Rivero. So, Adam, was good fun commentating on that. I had a good fun watching. Hopefully, the Giants had a good fun as well. And I think, if nothing else, was a wake up call for some of the drivers. 2 hours is tough around this circuit. However, they are going to have to bear 24 hours. No faster pairs as well in that. One faster pair today. Oh, I don't think I am taking part on the weekend, and I'm rather glad because this challenge of this car of this track with these cars is absolutely incredible.
Well, I think firstly tonight has really whet the appetite for spectators like us. You know, we get to see the get to see the race unfold at the weekend, and I'm really looking forward to it now. Having seen these guys go and throw their cars round in anger for the first time this week, it's looking good for some of them. Some of them, as you've alluded to, still need to do a little bit of work. Absolutely. But like I said during the commentary, this track can bite you whether you're on it or not. But yeah, some positive notes for sure. But yeah, like I say, some work to do for others.
Definitely. So certainly do check out. Well, if you've enjoyed this video, first off, please do leave it a like. Super appreciate that, and of course, do check out future streams by Apex Racing TV. Got a couple of events going on tomorrow. Probably got some events going on tonight, to be honest. If you want to stay up later, if you're American, and the time slots work pretty well for you. Yeah, certainly do keep tuned with that one. Yeah, I've got a couple of events tomorrow. No Aerial TC, unfortunately, on Thursday. But probably the biggest event, I imagine, is Apex Racing League GT on Sunday evening. That's going to be absolutely superb. Coming to you from Le Mans for the championship finale in that. And yeah, certainly do keep subscribed, turn on notifications, and check out all our other social media platforms as well: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of that stuff. But for now, from me, from Adam, and from Alex, we're going to say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.